Hi, everybody. This is Ken Wilson. Once upon a time, I broadcast blues hockey. I always listen to Let's Go Blues Radio. It's everything you'll want as a blues fan. Oh, baby.
Stop doing those diet or workout fads to lose weight. Use the tried and true approach from Rockin' That Ideal Life that helps you find balance while enjoying food in moderation and nourishing your body. Try the Lean 30 program at rockinthatIdealLife.com and let today be your last first day of your weight loss journey.
When buying or selling your home, you need to feel protected. Realtor Mike Burgoyne not only looks out for your interests, but as a St. Louis area police officer will make sure you feel safe and well-informed with every decision. Email Mike at strikewithmike.com and start the process today. That's Mike at strikewithmike.com.
Get ready to hear some noise tonight. You're just seconds away from Let's Go Blues Radio.
Let's have a Donnybrook.
Eric Brewer was so bad.
Are we like Ogle Corp? Are we suspended?
I reciprocated the dickness.
Selfish hockey.
That's right, selfish hockey.
What did I tell you about stick tape?
You don't need it!
No doubt about it, eh? You're listening to Kurt, Bill, and Jeff on Let's Go Blues Radio, the original St. Louis Blues hockey fan podcast. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to episode 23 of season 13. This is episode number 454 all time of the often imitated, never duplicated, coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah! We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Special thanks to our sponsors, Dustin from rockinthatIdealLife.com and realtor Mike Burgoyne, who you can email at mike@strikewithmike.com. For proudly sponsoring the show. Please check them out. Also, don't forget to check out our t-shirt shop at letsgoblues.com for some well-designed and fairly priced blues-themed t-shirts. It is Thursday, 3.14. That is St. Louis's special holiday, March 14th, and also Pi Day. And we are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Times Square in New York, wherever you get live video casts. To interact with the show on social media, our handle on all social channels is at LGB Radio. Just search for us and you'll find us. And if you haven't already done so, please like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, buy a t-shirt from our shop, hire Bill Day for your kid's next birthday party, or do whatever you can do to help us out. I'm your host, Jeff Bonner, and I'm joined by Kurt Price and Bill Day. Producer Austin is finishing the heist of the Jaramir Jagr bobbleheads. The agenda for tonight includes the Blues taking it to Boston, their recent win against L.A., Matthew Kessel returning for the foreseeable future, all that and more on this super-duper extra special episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. So we are all here tonight. How's it going?
Good. I don't think Bill does birthday parties, though. He only does bar mitzvahs.
Yes.
What about
and
bat?
I do
Okay.
bat mitzvahs too. Yes.
Good.
I do not discriminate by gender, only by religion.
That makes sense. That's okay. That's all right.
I'm okay with that. Hey, you're giving it back to the Jews. That's what we need, right? They deserve it. Has there been a more what's the word? Oppressed
I feel like we're going down a road here.
religion than the Jews? It's awful. Everything you hear about in the past has something to do with how the Jews were treated poorly. It's just not fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to go down this road.
Yeah.
They were the cause of all of Germany's problems back in the late 30s, weren't they?
They were the cause of. Wow.
That's what Hitler would have them have you believe.
That's true.
I mean,
Can
too soon. Sorry, too soon. My bad.
Can we rewind to the beginning and start this one over?
Who would have thought that Hitler would be brought up this early in the show?
Right.
Welcome to episode 23 of season 13. This is episode number. Okay, yeah.
I knew this was a bad idea to go religion right off the bat.
Yeah,
never go full religion, Jeff.
Yes.
Never go full religion.
I'm gonna blame Bill.
That's not the R word you thought I was going to use.
Bill Day, it's from Matt Harris. He says, Bill Day was at my last birthday party, got drunk and pissed himself while yelling about goalies. Would hire again.
That is my top-rated Google review of all time.
Yes, there you go.
That's great.
We're the drunk clown. I like it.
A++.
Hey, everybody there in the chat. I see a couple people chiming in. Let's go. The boys are live in the venue tonight. What the fuck are you guys drinking? Somebody buy this man, Jeff, his season ticket already. Yeah. That's from our friend Justin Scott. I'm with you, buddy. 4-0 on the season now. How about that?
Justin,
Blues want to make the playoffs. They need me there.
Well, I mean, Justin and his inability to use question marks in that post. So respect that, though. He's a man who he's not asking questions. He's making demands.
Mm-hmm. So I do have to ask, though, Jeff, was last night the first night that they gave up a goal while you were there? Because I know there were 2 shutouts in there.
Let me think. No, the first game I went to against Dallas, the overtime one that Parayko won.
Yeah,
they gave up a goal that night.
Very early in the season, right?
Yes. So that was like December 16th, I think.
Well, that was last year.
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. I think I have seen 2 shutouts.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. And we should have had one last night, but
but you said shutout. You said shutout at about 10 minutes of the third period.
So I will say, really? No, I did not. Of course not.
What's wrong?
I will say last night.
And it does apply to fans and broadcasters.
There was a
players.
first. There was a first for me. I've been to, it's speculation. I'll say 400 Blues games. Not even kidding. Over my lifespan, because a lot of those obviously were, I was in the media. In case you guys didn't know that. I used to have season tickets when I was younger. But either way, first for me last night, I left the game early.
What?
You did? You had the kid in tow.
I had the kid with me. So for those that don't know, my son has autism and Down syndrome. Loves hockey. Watches every game with me. But the problem is, a lot of times, and I think this is what the problem was, he's in bed by the start of the third period. So last night, he was having fun, had a blast. It was his first game of the season. Second period ends, and he has to go to the bathroom. So I take him to the bathroom, and then he starts saying home. And I'm like, no, there's still one more period. We got to finish the game out. Well, we went back to the seats, and he got mad. And I think he just kept saying home, home, home. And I'm like, he's not. One, he's not used to 3 periods. And 2, it was like we got up from the seats, which typically means it's time to leave. So he got upset. The wife and I tried real hard to just deal with it. But there was about 5 minutes left. And I'm like, we got to go. He's going to start getting really upset. And we didn't want to, piss anyone off around it. Not that they would care, but... Still, we were like, let's just do it. I tried my hardest, though. I walked very slow out of the building because I was like, if I can just stay until the final buzzer and then walk out, I never have to say I left the game early. But unfortunately, there was still about 2 minutes left when we walked out of the building.
Lesson learned. Bring a catheter. Bring a catheter next game.
So
don't leave your seats.
The Save of the Week segment is not going to be like you got to see it.
Yes.
So you don't have to just hear me talk about it. Okay.
No, I did see it live, and that was incredible. But we will get to that.
Lucky man.
Yes,
I think I've started a question mark discussion in the chat. Question marks are for the weak. They're for quitters. What are we, the Calgary Flames? I don't.
I like that, Justin Scott. That might already be our question or our comment of the show. Question marks are for the weak, Kurt. I like that. All right. So announcements to open the show. We very briefly, I will mention. I will say, I'll just say it. Last summer, it did start to feel like work. The summer series. I did the anniversary team and or the all-time team.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a lot of fun to do, but man, it was like pulling teeth to get some of it done. And I'm like, man, this might be the last summer series.
I thought when you had said that you were going to do it that way, and I was like, man, I could see like happening what happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just the way people are, and it was great that they participated, but it was like, you need to get that information right, and it was just always like pulling teeth.
Yeah, the way it was set up, it was definitely. I'll go with a different metaphor. You set yourself up for a cat rodeo because, man, you were wrangling cats.
That's it. And yes, and also like just having to, because it's like you got to do the reveal show, and so I'm not going to do them by myself. Although I ended up doing one by myself, and it was just hard to get people to be like, know the players well enough to feel comfortable to come on. I know you guys do, but you're not going to join me every show. So it was difficult. And so I said, man, this might be the last year. I'm coming back this year. We're going to do it again. We're doing a summer series. I think this one's going to be a lot more fun. I've already filled you guys in on it. We're going to do some hockey influencers. I'm just going to have people on that are across the social media spectrum that are consider themselves hockey influencers. So if you can think of anyone off the bat that you'd like to hear from, that you'd like to maybe hear me interview, bring on the show, thinking about doing something more fun than just an interview too.
The hockey guy.
Yeah, that's one guy that's on my list.
Yeah.
The hockey guy. I do know one of the social media influencers very personally, so I don't want to say his name in case he ends up not wanting to come on.
Personally, do you know him?
Very personally.
Oh, that person. Ooh,
yeah.
Is it a lady?
It is a man.
Oh,
treats Jeff like a lady.
No, a man that I have been on the rink with many times. So I'm hoping to get him, and he knows a lot of the other people we can get on. I just figure it could be fun. We'll play games with them, do whatever we can, have a nice, lively summer series. So again, if you're thinking of anyone that you follow that you're like, oh, that guy would be awesome, or that chick would be awesome to hear from. Sorry, chick. Woman, the advocate for women's hockey, saying the word pick.
What about what about Steve Albers?
The one to do so much for women's sports, right?
The problem is that when I say dude, I talk about men, and when I talk about men, I say dude. When I talk about women, I say chick. I feel like is that equal? I feel like that's equal, right? Like that dude over there, that chick over there, like that's how I talk.
Is chick derogatory now?
It probably is. I don't know. I think everything's derogatory nowadays.
Well, don't be that person.
Don't be that. You're right.
I don't know. Is it the accepted nomenclature for
Well, any ladies listening, let us know.
I would guarantee you if you call someone a girl a chick to their face, it's probably not the best thing that you can call them.
I work with
a lady
that I
Dudes
say
and ladies
chick to, and she has no problem with it.
I'm thinking ladies.
I say ladies too.
Dudes
I say that
ladies?
all the time.
Yeah.
Either way. So yeah, that's what we do in the summer. So Justin Scott, you're not a lady, but he says you can't say chick, man. People will get offended. Okay, dude.
Just never call chicks broads. That's all I know.
That's from something. What is that from?
UHF.
Is that UHF?
Broads don't belong in broadcasting? Oh, I've told my people once. I've told them a million times. Never call chicks broads. Why you slimy?
There it is. That's what it was. Okay. All right. Let's get to beer. So we are... we're sticking with Kurt, right?
Oh, well... Okay.
We didn't go last week.
No, we didn't. No, we did. When we did go, I didn't go first because the Blues were sucking.
Okay,
and,
so they won.
Yeah.
So should we do this at the end of the show?
Well, we had the Rangers game, which was a shutout loss, but then we had two wins, two good ones. So how do you interpret that? I think you know what? I think that Rangers game could have been like a byproduct of us doing it late. Like as punishment, and then the fact that Bill went first last week was the two wins. So I think we go with Bill.
Bill.
All right. The coloring of this can is going to make this difficult, but I am continuing on my quest to try every good imperial stout in the world, mostly coffee related. This is Cafe Death, part of the Deep Wood series. Jeff knows a thing or two about Deep Wood. This is from Revolution Brewing.
Would that be receiving?
That's called the chicks I know.
Receiving the.
Hey! You're not supposed to tell anyone about that.
It's a legit question. You can say yes or no. I'm just asking.
Yep. So this is an Imperial Coffee Stout made in partnership with Dark Matters Coffee. So Revolution Brewing out of Chicago, Dark Matters Coffee out of Chicago. Pretty good. Not the best coffee stout I've had, but this is nice and strong. And it's only a 12 ouncer, so I can have a second beer tonight.
So we have a chick in the chat.
And
More That Girl says, I am personally not easily offended, but I wouldn't throw chick around these days.
She's right. She's exactly right. I would say I say chick to the people that I am close to, but I'm not going to like be walking around saying, "Hey, chick." Not that I would ever do that,
unless their name is Chick.
Yeah, hey, chick, right. Or they're like a baby chicken.
Right.
Yeah.
You talk to a lot of baby chickens
all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Every day.
Right. And to be clear, you should never throw a chick around. Right. That
no, ever.
100% clear.
Unless they deserve it. No, I'm just
nope.
Totally kidding.
Let's take our feet out of our mouths and Kurt, you go with your beer.
All right. Mine's a Jewish beer. No. Mine is this is actually, and my parents are listening. Sometimes they listen and watch. And this beer was supposed to be this one was supposed to be for my dad for Christmas, and I forgot to give it to him. So if he's listening, I'm drinking it. It's called Peggy Jean from Logboat Brewing Company. It is a porter, and it is made with pecan and vanilla, and it's pretty good. And as I drink it, I can probably say that I probably wouldn't care for it. I don't know if it's his style, so it's probably a good thing I'm drinking it. If he wants one, I'll get him another one.
Taking one for the team there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it's a style, but porters and stouts not really.
Well, mine tonight is a show favorite. It is the Absence of Light peanut butter chocolate. It's the last one in my fridge, so we'll see if it's my last of the season, but thinking not. I saw them at the store still the other day, so I'll probably be getting more.
Absence of Light nowadays on this show is almost like drinking a Bud Light. We have it so much. It's a good beer.
Mm-hmm.
10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
On the nose.
Right.
And my dad is listening.
Yes. So
hey.
He can say he knows where one of his children are.
So so this is what it looks like. Merry Christmas.
Well, Michael Price says he's listening. Michael, I hope you enjoyed our Jew and chick talk before we got into
the Jew was you, and the chick was you too. That was both you.
I think
you started both of those.
Yeah.
This is why you guys are only having me.
My thing was the question mark. Mine was totally innocent and fun and flippant.
I got to come up with somebody to offend by the end of the show.
I'm sure there's a group of people out there that would be more than willing to be offended about something you say.
Well, later I'm going to offend the analytics crowd.
Yes, let's do that together.
Bill, you're welcome to join me on
group.
That. Yeah,
let's do that.
Yeah, we can do that one as a group. Well, we got plenty to talk about, guys. Let's get into it. The Blues and Matthew Kessel have agreed to a 2-year, one-way contract extension worth a total of $1.6 million. And this is always something that's interesting. I don't know. Just a side note. Every time the Blues sign someone to, or even the Cardinals, or any professional team, they'll see 2-year deal worth $1.6 million. And somebody will freak out and say, they're paying this guy $1.6 million? No, that is cut in half per year. So that is $800,000.
It's simple math.
It is. And I will say, maybe
simple math for simple people.
To the non-sports fan, I could see them seeing that and thinking, oh, that's 1.6 per. But I just feel like the people who follow the Blues on Facebook or follow them on Twitter, you should know better.
You know what?
Don't
when the number is kind of a small number, like if you were to say, the Blues signed Matthew Kessel for an 8-year, $64 million contract. It's obviously not $64 million a year. We'll do the math, right? Average would be $8 million a season. But when it's a low number like 1.6, which it could be per season, I guess they just assume.
Yeah, that's true.
So in their
That's
defense.
true. But either way, and it is a small portion of people. But yeah, it's a very small portion of people, but still. Yeah, well, whatever. Bill's gone forever. We just kicked him off the show.
Yes.
He's offended too many people.
He should just leave his chair there. Okay, that's fine. All right.
Nah, whatever. So Matt Kessel, 24 games played this year so far, 3 assists and -3 on the season. But we've talked about him. He was sent down just recently and came back up. I think since he's been back, he has looked like the Matthew Kessel from the first time he was called up. He had a rough stretch there, and again, I know I mentioned it on the show, but one of my favorite things to not my favorite things, but something I found funny was how he got his first assist. Clearly, to me, was his worst game as a Blue. You want to see him do more. You still need to see him and Perunovic score a goal. It's at this point, like, what are the betting odds? Who's going to score first? But you would think Perunovic. But then again, Tyler Tucker was the Blues' first goal scorer this year. So
this was a contract that you assume this was coming. They weren't going to not re-sign him. What was he? He was he's going to be an RFA, right? This offseason or next season?
Yeah.
So they had his rights anyway. So they were gonna do this. So this should not come as a surprise to anybody. Who is floating around out there that is a let's see, what is he? He's a UFA. He's a UFA, and that is Rosen. Which he will be gone. And which is sad because I don't. You think they don't keep him around for a depth in Springfield?
No, because I think he knows where his place is at on this team, and I think he knows he'll get a chance somewhere else. He's not going to get a chance.
I agree with you that he'd probably want to go somewhere else if he's going to play in the NHL. That's the deal, right? If somebody can say, "Yeah, we'll play you," but how many teams are going to do that too? Because he hasn't played do you think a whole lot of teams? Obviously, they have scouts and they know they know players, but how many teams are like they? Do you think other teams scouts like him as much as we do on this show?
No, so I think what it is, it's more, I don't think it's that a team is going to say, we will play you, you are going to play for us. I think it's more, if I go to another team, no matter who it is, I've probably got a better shot to play in the NHL and make the NHL
salary.
With a few, because the Blues have showed me they don't care about me, and I don't think
they probably need to go to a team with a few less NTCs on the roster. So if any of those players are not producing the way they would like or playing the way they like, they may get benched and Rosen may get called up. You're not going to see any of the NTCs get benched or whatever in favor of Rosen. So
yeah, teams.
I don't want to speculate who has room for a sixth defenseman, but he will be a fifth or sixth defenseman somewhere else.
I still want to see him stay here. I would him stay here.
Yeah, I would love to see him stay here, but I think he'll go to a team that's going to be in a transition season or a rebuild.
See, that's what we are. That's what we're doing. But we can't. I know,
like Jeff said, without the no trade clauses, right? That's we are locked in with this mediocrity
unless they move somebody.
Yeah.
See, how great would it be to?
It would be amazing
to see. I mean, have one of them waive the NTCs and. Play a guy like Rosen or acquire somebody else. Obviously, if you're getting rid of a guy like a Krug or a Falk, you've got some money to play with, and maybe you can acquire someone, a higher level guy. But for this, for the time being, I'd just as soon rather see Rosen than a few of these guys on defense.
Oh yeah, Justin Scott brings up a good point here. I will never understand why this continues to be the pairing, but I'm all for anything as long as I don't have Falk and Krug paired together. They've never worked for me. There was a brief period last year where I thought they looked okay, but this year especially, I do not like how they play together. They're the same person to me. And how crazy is it for me to say this? If you would have gone back to October and said, Jeff, you're going to say this in March, I'd laugh in your face. I think Falk's the one that I want to see go now. I think Torrey Krug
is that recency bias though? Because and also
yes.
Falk was dealing with injuries this season. He may still be hurt.
That's true.
I mean, like Parayko almost was assuredly hurt last season when he was playing poorly.
Last
and Bouwmeester when he, about a year and a half, 2 years where he was just bad. He was hurt dealing with stuff. So I mean, there's that. If both are completely healthy, give me a Falk. But yeah, if this is who Falk is moving forward,
that's the question. Well, but as I say, that's the question. Is it injury or is it just that's who he has?
Well, thankfully, we don't have to make that decision because Armstrong would know that if he's hurt or not. But we don't. We won't ever probably. Well, maybe we will in the off season. But
did we ever truly find out that Bouwmeester was hurt that whole time?
Yeah. They said, but not Parayko last season. No one's ever said that he was hurt last year. Or dealing with something all season long, which we speculated on the show almost every week, but that he had to be hurt. He had to be dealing with something because he just didn't look like himself at all. Hey, Calgary just tied the game. Yay, good.
My issue too is that with Falk, the question I guess is more because last year Falk was to me far and away the best Blues defenseman, except maybe Rosen. But of the NTC guys, Falk was the best, and I think that was hands down. I don't think anyone would even question that. Now my question is it injury or is it the fact they have a capable defensive coach and he's not playing well under a good defensive coach, or he's playing the same when everyone else has just upped their game that
I think
much.
The fact that he was hurt earlier this season and had to start again, came back and had to start again. I think you have to think that it's very possible that he is just dealing with something that he's playing through. Just because he was hurt earlier, came back, had to sit again, then came back again.
Yeah, it fits the pattern with Bouwmeester and Parayko as far as returning, can't sit out forever, come back too early, and try to play through it. And it's just I don't know.
Here's the thing too is, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Bill, but yeah, what you said coming back too early. It's like it's not like we are fighting for first overall where we need all hands on deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, is it the worst thing in the world if he sits out the rest of the season and gets healthy for next season? No. No. I mean, why are you playing him?
But that's been a theme with this team, right? They don't apparently encourage people. Take your time, get healthy. It's get healthy, get back as soon as you can.
Yeah, why don't we have Tarasenko on the show and he can talk about the Blues medical staff and we can get his take on how he feels they operate.
If he's a free agent this summer, that would be up to his agent if he can do interviews.
We'll talk to his agent.
Could ask him. Yeah, we'll see. Doesn't hurt to ask.
The worst they'll say is no, and then ridicule you publicly and by talking to somebody saying, "Hey, do you know who asked me on this show?" It's ridiculous.
And
Let's
buy
Blues
out
radio.
our podcast. Yeah, they would buy us out, and they would take over our studios.
Which, then we'd be part of the Clear. Was it Clear? That company that owns all the radio stations in the United States. Clear Wire. I don't know. Clear Media.
I can't think of the name of it. I know what you're talking about.
They own like every radio station in the United States.
Bill, your thoughts? Anything you wanted to add? I know you stepped away for a second on the Matthew Kessel re-sign.
No, serviceable guy. Sixth defenseman, seventh defenseman. That's not terrible money. Still, young.
I like him.
It
was a no-brainer to sign the guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's once Bertuzzo was gone, you kind of figured this was going to happen. They liked him enough to tell Bortz he can go somewhere else. And yeah, he's like I said, he's been serviceable.
Scandella will probably be gone.
Right.
Unless they oddly resign him in the offseason, he'll be gone.
Right.
So.
Right.
That'll be a nice spot.
Clear channel.
That's
Clear channel. Yep. There it is. Thank you, Baked Beaver. Also from the Baked Beaver, sup guys, let him recoup. I'd rather see quality in time rather than slopping out. Talking about
like I said, especially because the Blues, I mean, they're still they could still make the playoffs if they go on a nice run, and if some teams stumble and play 500 hockey the rest of the way, yeah, they could get in. But which I'm rooting for. You know, I'm gonna pull for them. I'm not gonna say that they're, you know, it's people that come out and say that they're not making the play, like these blanket statement absolutes. I'm like, well, probably not, but. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm watching the games. I'm gonna root for them. I'm gonna, you know, they have a chance. It's low, but you know, they could. Yep. So why not? It'd be fun,
right?
We talking about Falk with the injuries. I've always said this, and I said this with the Barrett Jackman days. Go back to our early episodes, and you heard me say this then. When we would hear at the end of the year, well, Barrett Jackman was playing hurt, but we still thought that he would be better than blah blah blah. You know, whoever it was that was in the minors, and I'm sorry, a 40% Barrett Jackman is not better than a hungry kid trying to make the NHL. And I'm not saying that Falk is playing that poorly, because I thought Jackman for a while there was.
It was
Jay Bouwmeester first couple years bad.
Or it's 2 seasons where Jackman was he was a whipping boy for a while. And he was playing hurt, and like he got hurt his rookie year. The Bertuzzi hit check behind the net. So I mean, he was hurt almost his entire NHL career.
But I said it then and I'll say it now. Like, again, Justin Falk, you know, when they brought him back out and they sent Kessel down, I was like, I'm sorry, at this point, play Matt Kessel. I think he is the better option than a hurt Justin Falk.
I agree.
But that's clearly not how
it's a salary. It's total salary issue. I mean, you're not going to sit the $6.5 million guy in favor of the $800,000 guy. You're just not going to do it. And you know what? This is not exclusive to the Blues. No team would do that. There's not a single team that's going to sit $6-7 million a year guy in favor of, unless he's a blue chip first overall draft pick who's making, you know, little right now or whatever. No, it's not going to happen.
Yep. So we've got Mary Woodruff Ponder over in the Facebook chat. Hi guys. Hey mom. So we've got Kurt's dad, and we've got my mom listening. Bill, why do your parents hate the show?
Because they're already asleep.
Not an excuse. No excuses. Play the champion. All right. We are hard up against a break here, guys. So let's take it. Although I know, I saw you just mentioned Kurt or Ken Morris in the chat. Barrett Jackson was Rookie of the Year.
Barrett Jackson. That sounds like like an auction show you watch on a Motor Week channel or something.
It is.
Had to give you trouble there.
Ken. Lost out. And Zetterberg finished second. And there was a quote from Doug Wilson? No. Not Doug Wilson.
Doug Wilson was the GM of
not
the
Doug Wilson. It was the coach of the Ducks, I think. Anyway.
At that time?
Not Doug Wilson. The Wilson that played for the Blues. What was his first name?
Ron Wilson.
Ron?
Yes, he was coaching the Ducks, and I think it was him that said this. Don't quote me on this, but I will quote him on this. He said that Jackman won the Rookie of the Year, but Zetterberg will be the better player at the end of their careers. I'll guarantee you that. And so there you go. He was right.
And I'll always say that, again, not saying Barrett Jackman was not great his rookie season, but I'll always say it should have been flipped. It should have been Zetterberg winning Rookie of the Year and McInnes getting the Norris and not Lidstrom. But you knew that it wasn't going to go to both Blues. So it was like, to me, McInnes was the best defenseman in the entire league that year. But
McInnes was robbed out of the Norris, and so was Pronger when Blake won it.
Agreed.
And to this day, we get to walk around saying Barrett Jackman has Henrik Zetterberg's Calder Trophy, and I like that.
Yeah. I am fine with it because that was at a time when the Blues and Wings were like heated rivals too. Beat him out. We beat him for something, right? Can't take that away from us.
Yep. All right. I'm hard up, guys. Hard up against the break. So we're going to take a quick break here. When we get back, we have plenty to talk about with the St. Louis Blues, including the trade deadline, the games against the Rangers, Kings, and Bruins, as well as other news around the NHL, including the Pittsburgh Penguins. When we get back, you'll hear about that. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Let's Go Blues Radio.
We'll return after these messages.
We've all tried a diet or workout fad at one time or another, but it always ends the same, right? We either lose the weight and then get back to our routine, but then put the weight right back on, or it just simply never takes hold. It's time to move into a habit-based program that focuses on organization and simplicity. Rockin' That Ideal Life's Lean 30 lays it all out for you with the correct food to eat, how to meal prep, and even sprinkles in plenty of healthy recipes. With Lean 30, you'll get the full ID Life arsenal, including energy for that needed kick, a tasty Nourish shake for your needed fiber intake, Slim Plus to help control your cravings and provide a metabolic boost. Lean capsules help bust those sugar cravings, and IED Nutrition gives you the added punch you need that takes the guesswork out of what supplements to take. Join the many who are seeing success and make this your last first day on a new program. Visit rockinthatIdealLife.com to get started, and remember to email Dustin at rockinthatIdealLife@gmail.com for an extra 10% off exclusively for Let's Go Blues radio listeners. Start your transformation to the confident, vibrant person you've always wanted to be with rockinthatIdealLife.com.
St. Louis hockey fans know how it takes a reliable captain and a team of hard workers to achieve major goals. As a police officer and a hockey player, realtor Mike Burgoyne would wear the C in any situation. As a leader in the home buying or selling process, Mike has surrounded himself with a team of trustworthy inspectors, lenders, and escrow officers that work together more cohesively than Hall & Oates. And as a member of many teams in his life, Mike knows the service our first responders, veterans, nurses, teachers, and yes, even you Let's Go Blues Radio listeners provide the community, so he offers special rates to those individuals. Find the value in Mike's leadership and teamwork today by emailing him at mike@strikewithmike.com or calling 314-753-4060. He'll work closely with you and only show you the homes that match your goals. That email again is mike@strikewithmike.com or call him at 314-753-4060 and succeed with your new teammate today.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
Yeah, and the Calgary Flames do score to go up 2-1 on Vegas in the third period. Kicking ass. Good.
Dude, with all the long LTIR shit that Vegas is trying to pull off again, I would love to see them miss the playoffs.
And I mean, it's for them to miss the playoffs, if they were to fall and miss the playoffs and say the Blues get in or whoever, that'd be so sweet.
Be fantastic. I don't care if the Blues get swept. Seeing Vegas not make the playoffs after the shit that we're seeing them do, which, hey, completely legal. Good for them for doing it if they can afford it. But you got to root against that shit. And I would love to see them not make it.
When you said don't touch that dial before we went to break, the kids nowadays probably don't really know what that means, maybe. TVs used to have dials on them. Radios, too. I mean, they still do radios. But, yeah, you had to get up off the couch.
Some of them, it's mostly buttons now. Like touch
for radios?
Yeah, well, but I'll say my nephew just got a 1997, a Ford Ranger? And, yeah, he was all like, man, he's like, what is with the dial for turning through the radio? And I'm like, yeah, that was the thing. That's how every car came equipped back in the day.
And don't touch that dial. It's like, I mean, TV, right? I mean, you had to get up off the couch and walk up to your TV and click, 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 turn the dial.
Yeah, most remote controls at that point in time were kids.
Yeah, you know, my grandparents had the earliest remote that I ever saw was some kind of a corded.
Yeah,
it was a corded thing. I think it was corded, and it went to an actual physical mechanical device that attached to their dial that forcefully rotated the dial on TV. That was kind of crazy. And our first remote was basically a big old looking Texas Instruments calculator looking thing that had basically a phone cord going from it to a box on top of the TV.
I remember when I was a kid and I'd lay in front of the TV watching cartoons on Saturday morning, and it'd be like, oh, I got to switch to whatever, Channel 5 for this. I had my one of those things, those little grabbers where you go like this, and then it had the little
grabber,
hooks or whatever, and then
I do believe they're called grabbers.
And I would do that instead of getting up, and I would turn the dial with that.
Graboids is what they're called.
Is that what they're called?
That's from Tremors, the movie. Graboids, Tremors, the movie. Kevin Bacon. You've never seen Tremors?
Oh, no, I've seen it. I was probably 6 when I saw it.
Yeah, I've seen that thing probably 20 times.
That's the one with Michael Gross from Family Ties,
yeah,
right?
And it is. Yeah, and the undergrad, the graboids.
Yeah.
They called them graboids.
Well, the Blues made 0 moves at the trade deadline. I know you guys, I didn't watch the show, but I know you probably discussed what could happen. I know the week before we talked about, what we wanted to happen. I just wanted to see some moves in terms of getting rid of guys to get draft picks. I wasn't expecting anything crazy. I thought if you can move a Kapanen for a 7th or a Scandella for a 7th, that's what I was thinking. Like, just get rid of these guys. You don't need them. But that didn't happen. And if you listen to Doug Armstrong's presser afterwards, he basically said there wasn't a market for those guys. They weren't there. Whether you want to choose to believe that or not, that is what he said. So, yeah, I guess you got to go by his word.
And I think everybody would have liked to have seen them get something for them, because those are guys that are just not going to resign more than likely. So you want to get anything for them if you can. And people were pissed. People were like, just get rid of him for anything. And I was like, yeah, I agree with you. But then after hearing the press conference and still hearing people say, hey, just unload them for anything, whatever, future considerations. And I'm like, if nobody's a buyer, if nobody will take him, you can't you can't trade him away to somebody who doesn't want him.
But we did get future considerations for Malcolm Subban.
We did trade Malcolm Subban. A lot of people actually didn't even realize that, because it's such a minor league move.
And it was
Malcolm
very
Subban,
late in the day when it came out.
Yeah. Malcolm Subban went over to the Columbus Blue Jackets for future considerations. He was instantly assigned to Cleveland of the AHL. They're going through a rebuild. I think they just want to stockpile, see what he's got, maybe see if they can sign him next year. Maybe he's a backup for them. But either way, I was happy with that, because, again, it's a guy that you're probably not going to re-sign. But, yeah, at this point, for me, and I'll say this, I do find it hard to believe there wasn't let's say, 20 teams that are still in the playoff mix. There wasn't one that was like, we could use a Marco Scandella as a 7th defenseman, as an insurance policy in case something happens. That's all I'll say. I'm not calling Doug Armstrong a liar. I just find it hard to believe one team that'd be like, yeah, we maybe could use that guy.
He isn't exactly cheap. For salary cap, to fit in the salary cap. And, this kind of thing has been talked about before. A lot of teams have a guy that they already could plug into that role that they may not want to just mess with, messing with the salary cap, spending maybe $2 million more on a guy that, as opposed to the other way. And plus, if they acquire a Scandella, put him on the roster, and then they got to kick somebody off their roster and send them down or whatever. So a lot of things kind of like domino effect with this stuff. But you at first thought, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, yeah, surely a team would like to have him as a depth guy. And but I guess, like you said, Jeff, if Armstrong is to be believed, no, not really.
Yeah. And I'll say, when you talk about, again, moving him for a 7th round pick, at best you're getting a Tyler Tucker, eventually.
At best.
And I hate to say
very
that.
Best.
But, because there are some 7th rounders that have come into the league and been pretty good. Brian Elliott was a 9th rounder. That round doesn't even exist anymore.
I'm all for getting whatever you could, but I probably like a 98% chance they're not going to play in the NFL.
it's not worth losing.
No.
It's not like the Blues had a deal in place to move Scandella for a first-round pick.
It's mildly.
No. There's no way that was.
It's mildly annoying, but other than that, no, it's not worth getting your panties in a bunch, which Twitter does.
Yes, they do.
I was just going to say my take on it was one of two things happened, or maybe a combination of both. No GM was going to do Doug Armstrong any favors and clear up any cap space for him, because more than likely he would turn around and make a move and make the Blues a little better. Or Armstrong had his price, and we all know he's a man of principle. Won't give the complete no movement clause to your captain of your Stanley Cup team. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take less than a 6th round pick for Scandella or Kapanen, and you stuck to it, right? So you could interpret his. The market just wasn't there for that, or nobody is interested.
And you know what? To be honest, it sounds to me like he, still hopes to make the playoffs, which obviously he probably does. But so he's thinking, gosh, okay, do I move him and get a 7th round pick, or do I move him and get a 6th round pick, or whatever, or keep him and not get the pick and try to make the playoffs? And it's like, what am I going to end up with more in the end? Is it worth it to have a slim shot of making the playoffs, or is it worth it to have a slim shot at drafting an NHLer in the 7th round?
I'll add that I don't think this is the case, but somebody did respond to me on Twitter after I said, man, it would have been nice to see one of those guys moved. I'm talking about Scandella and Kapanen specifically. Scandella, not because of performance. I actually think Scandella's been pretty good for so far this season. But Kapanen, I think, has been awful. I would love to see him off this roster. But yeah, somebody said, oh, well, they didn't trade Scandella, so that means that they're going to resign him.
No,
I don't think that's the case, but that would absolutely piss me off. Like, if they did have plans to resign Scandella, and again, not because he's been bad, but because you've got a pipeline of guys that should be moving up here. You've got plenty of dudes that are blocking the way that really shouldn't be. Scandella would just be another veteran that's not necessary on this roster.
Pietrangelo was just brought up, and the Flames just scored a 2-on-1 with Pietrangelo back. 3-1 Flames.
Very nice.
He did not defend that well.
Yeah, I was going to say
he was back kind of far. He wasn't in the passing lane at all.
No, not at all.
Somehow my cast dropped, so I missed it all. I'll have to pull it back up.
Mine did too. My Roku reset about 3 or 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, Spectrum, what are you doing? But I was going to say, you talk about Kapanen, right? He you mentioned he was pretty good the last game. I thought he was really good in the Bruins game too, right?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
He was.
It's like not trading him was like making a trade because
don't say it, Bill.
Oh, we have to once a year.
You're gonna have Bowtie wanting to come on the show and talk to you about that.
It's just after the trade deadline, he's shown to be a different player. So that's we'll get into it. We'll get into those games, but man.
Well, Bill, what do you say we do that now?
Let's do that. Do we have to talk about the Rangers game?
We'll talk about this one very quickly. The Blues did lose their 3rd in a row on the East Coast trip, 4-0 to the New York Rangers. Our last show was the post-game show after the Devils game. So on this trip, at this point, after the Rangers loss, 1-3-0 on the trip, outscored 13-4. Remember, we don't count that shootout goal they scored against the Flyers. Shootout win over Philadelphia, and then losses back-to-back to the Islanders, Devils, and Rangers. Which, Kurt, I'm going to mow your lawn here. You said this in the chat, and I think you're wanting to bring it up here. I agree with you 100%. I'm going to give you credit. This loss didn't piss me off because it was a good game. I thought the Blues especially came out in the first period and played really well. But Shesterkin shut him down, like he always does to every team in the NHL. And the Rangers are a damn good team. It was the losses before that that kind of got to me. The Devils and Islanders. You had to win at least one of those.
Yeah, the Islanders were in a similar spot to the Blues. Very comparable situations.
And you had a 2-0 lead.
And the Islanders just came back and just beat the Blues and they wanted that game at the end more. And that was disappointing to see. And the Devils, anytime you lose to the Devils, this season when they're struggling, it's just like, ugh. So, I mean, the Blues are struggling too. So it's like you never know what you're going to get with some of these teams. And
yep. Big story in this game. 3 of the 4 goals for the Rangers were scored on the power play. Just not a good look. And the one even strength goal that was scored was just a bad play by the Blues. And again, Kurt, I know you have it in your notes here that Blues not getting the puck deep. Who was it that scored?
Oh, Parayko didn't get it deep. Yeah, I don't know who scored.
Well, right, but who scored for the Rangers on that?
It was
why
did I do that?
Son of a bitch. I can't remember who it was. But either way, they scored on the rush. Short side on Binnington. Actually thought it was a great shot. Don't blame Binnington on that at all. But especially since, he had no help. So the one bad, super bad 5-on-5 bad play they made, and then 3 power play goals against on 6 opportunities is what doomed the Blues in this game.
Trocheck scored the first goal.
Trocheck, that's right. Yep. Yeah, he had 2, right? Because he needed to deflect in the first one, too.
No. Trocheck had the first goal, then Vesey, Kreider, and then Kakko.
So it was Vesey.
Yes. The Vesey, second goal.
Second goal.
My bad. Yeah, second goal.
Yep.
Vesey.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So, and Justin Scott does bring up a good point, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk to these in extreme because I actually don't remember them all. The Rangers had 6 power plays, and 4 of the 6 were terrible calls. I remember specifically 3 of them being very upset over. So, I agree. But again, bad calls are part of the game. You have to be able to kill those penalties off, and the Blues didn't do it.
Still.
So, and Justin, I'm not saying you're doing this, but you can't blame the officials when you give up power play goals.
Yes, you can. They are partly to blame. Well, okay, and because and I agree with you. Bad calls happen. You got to deal with them. But if the other team scores against you when it's just a bad call, the bad call was part of it. And you didn't make up for the fact that it was a bad call. You didn't step up and prevent the goal. But sometimes you're playing against a pretty talented team, and they'll score a goal against you. Maybe it's through no fault of your own on the PK. But sometimes, as fans, bitching about the officials, that's a God-given right. But you got to do it smart because, man, if you bitch about the officials like the Boston Bruins fans did, you're going to sound like a bunch of morons.
Yeah, awful. Oh. I mean, and that goes back to the 2019 Cup Final. How many times were we literally? I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says in Boston. I had fans for other teams agreeing with us. The Blues got hosed many times in that series. And I'm not saying Boston didn't. I'm sure there were some bad calls their way too. But the Bozak trip.
Stanley Cup final.
It comes to mind. But, yeah, for me, it was like, man, I thought the Barbashev suspension was bullshit. When there was other shit going on in that series that was completely let go.
Yeah, Torrey Krug on Robert
that's
Thomas.
Part of the game.
If that's not a charge, nothing is. He skated 3/4 length of the ice to make that check.
There was one Marchand, I think, on McEachern, but I could be wrong. But I even put a video up on YouTube that was like, hit to the head. This is exactly what they say is a hit to the head, and it wasn't even a penalty in the game.
Yeah, and it's a Stanley Cup final. It's going to be physical. Teams want to win. It's going to be chippy, rough. There's going to be guys it's going to be physical. I mean, the fucking Boston Bruins of all teams, and what they're known for, right, is like just hard-nosed, big, tough play. And like the Flyers have that, they're kind of known for that, like in the history. Blues too. Some teams just have this team makeup over the years, generally speaking, that the fan base demands, and Boston's one of them. They fuck them. That's how they play all the time, is to the edge and over it sometimes.
You employ Brad Marchand.
You don't get, you can. I mean, it's, like I said, it's your God-given right. However, you're still a hypocrite. So.
In this game, again, talking about goaltending, Jordan Binnington, 35 saves on 39 shots, especially, again, in the first period. There was multiple chances. Brandon Saad had a good one. Kyrou, I think, had a breakaway in the first period. Buchnevich had a point-blank shot from in between the hash
Kyrou
marks.
had a breakaway?
And
he didn't
think
score?
So, yes. I could be wrong.
Shocker.
No. I know, right? But still, I thought Shesterkin played fantastic. I thought Binnington played really well. And early in this game, and Bill, I don't know if you had the same feeling, in that first period, even after the Blues were down 2-0, I was like, man, this game has the makings of my kind of game. Goaltending duel, good defense, players going all out, still having good chances, but the goaltending is coming up huge. I love games like that. It kind of calmed down after the first period, but still, just good goaltending all around. I thought the Blues let their foot off the gas. And again, it does happen. It's a momentum swing. They give up that goal late in the first period. I thought they weren't the same team after that. I thought in the first they looked like a team that could easily come back and tie the game. But after that goal, it was so deflating. They did not look like the same team the other two periods.
The second goal was that goal Parayko didn't get deep. And, I mean, that's just a bad play.
And that was at the end of the
That's what I'm saying.
period.
Yeah, 22.
That's two things that are
22 seconds to go in the period. All Parayko has to do is get it in deep, and he has it at the blue line, and he doesn't, and it turns it over at the Rangers blue line, and it comes back the other way, and they score with 22 seconds to go. If he gets it deep behind their goal, that goal doesn't happen.
Well, and I'll add too that I put a little blame on Justin Falk too, because Falk was going off, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, where it was a very similar play where, he does think, I get it. Parayko has the puck. Okay, he's going to get it deep. I can go for a line change, because he won the previous shift, I believe. And so he was trying to go off. He doesn't wait until the puck gets deep. He just jets as soon as Parayko carries it out. He goes to the bench. I don't know if you noticed, the Blues actually had 6 men on the ice when the goal was scored, because the other defenseman, I think it was Leddy, had already jumped. And so they both started skating back, and then Falk was like, oh, shit, and he goes to the bench. But it was like, Falk, to me, it's like you got to wait another split second. Make sure that puck is high. Make sure it's deep. If it's not, you got to wait a second.
Yeah, and he never made it to the bench. He started to go, and then he curled back. Yeah, like you said, too many men was probably the case. Yeah, I kind of pulled it back here just to see exactly when he did. And, he passes it, and, and Parayko, Parayko does get it into the zone, but he's supposed to get it deep, did not, and it's
soft, and it was right past the blue line.
Yeah, it was about 10 feet past, and then that was it.
Yep.
Yeah. So Flames win, Vegas loses 4-1, empty net goal with about 3 minutes to go. Yeah, and I will tell you guys, I appreciate your commentary on this Rangers game, because I didn't give it a second of my life.
Okay, I had to go back.
There were a lot of other things going on, like a very highly entertaining Montreal-Toronto game, and then City. So
I had to go back and watch it because my daughter and I were working cleaning out the garage that night, and then we went out to eat afterward.
Oh, turn on the Capitals Kraken game,
and then we saw it at the pizza place. I saw the score was 2-0 in the third. And I was like, well, shit. Okay, I'll go back and watch it later. Capitals Seattle. What game?
Capitals Seattle. Goalie fumble with the puck, shoots it right into Oshie and into the net. I think it was Chris Drieger in net for the Kraken. Just happened. Well, Capitals up 1-0.
But I don't want to watch this game though.
No, I know, but I just thought Bill might want to see that because it's a goalie mistake, and those are always fun to watch.
Right, and that's a tough back-to-back for Washington. They were in Edmonton last night.
Yeah, they got their asses kicked last night.
Yeah, and Ovechkin got robbed, stoned twice.
Yeah, he did.
He should have had 2 goals last night.
So after this Rangers game, the Blues end the longest trip of the season with a 5-1 win over the Boston Bruins, and 31 NHL teams fans applauded this win because fuck Boston. In this game, Kasperi Kapanen, the aforementioned Kasperi Kapanen, 1 goal and 2 assists. And, the one goal, the goal was funny. And I'll admit, my first thought when I saw it, because it was Torrey Krug, put it into the corner, it bounced right in front, and it was a one-time Kapanen, not going to miss that. No NHL player in the league is going to miss that. I just thought, man, does Torrey Krug know something about these boards playing in Boston for so long?
That was that was crazy. Off the boards, off the official skate too.
Yep.
Off the boards, off the skate, right to Kapanen, and lucky bounce. But Kapanen does a good job to put that fortunate bounce away. Yep. And it was, I mean, so there's a it's apparently a Blues fans, Blues and Bruins fans social media account that was all outraged about this game, which I'll kind of chip in every now and then with what they said, because he was complaining about every single thing in this game. First goal he complained about, which is this goal, off an official, which is illegal.
That is not the truth. We have seen it go off the official's junk.
Yeah, well, yes. But if it goes directly in, it doesn't count. But if it goes to a puck hits the official, it can go to anybody, and they can play it and shoot it and score. That's exactly what happened.
They're part of the ice, is what I was always told as a kid.
They are, and it just can't go in. So the puck directly into that.
Wasn't it Tim Peel's junk?
Tim Peel's junk.
It was.
Yep.
Why is that not a Twitter account?
Tim Peel's junk.
I think it will be after this. Oh man! And this into that.
This Bruins and Blues fan, who claims to be, his profile is former college play-by-play announcer and alumni of Curry College men's hockey, number 44. So he's a broadcaster, or was, and he played hockey, and he doesn't know that a puck can hit the official.
One,
so bananas.
He's a disgrace to the number 44. How dare he? Mm. And number two, Jack Edwards is also a professional announcer, look at the shit he says.
He's a dumpster fire. And this account is at Nashville Bruins. So if you want to go look him up,
so that's confusing. So is he a Predators fan too?
No, he claims to be a Blues and Bruins fan, but man, he went off on how the Bruins were screwed over in this game, big time.
Well. So another goal, was it, I'm drawing a blank now. Was it the second goal that was the 3-on-1? And that was power. Okay. That's
power play goal. That after the high stick.
That's right. Okay. Well, you've got a comment here. Go ahead. What was his problem with the second goal?
Well, it was Tom. Well, his problem wasn't with the goal. It was with the phantom high stick. He said that there wasn't a high stick.
On Trent Frederick?
I think it was Frederick, yeah. But yeah. And the camera angle I saw, I didn't get to look at a replay too much of it, but the camera angle they showed during the game was from behind whoever got high sticked. Was it Brushnevich or Shen? I forget who it was. But and so you couldn't really tell if it made contact or if it was embellished because the camera was behind the Blues player. But I don't know why you would think it was phantom. You couldn't tell from the angle I saw. So, but anyway, that was the Thomas power play goal where he won times pretty early in the power play.
That's right.
Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bomb too. And again, I said this on the show. When he came up, that was my biggest concern with Thomas. I'm like, I know he's a passer, but my God, that dude has no power on his shot. That is not the case anymore. That dude can fire it.
Yeah, he's got a fantastic wrist shot, and his slap shot's pretty good too. He just showed here. So,
and it's accurate, very accurate.
I mean, you know what? And he's being a playmaker, the playmaker he is. It stands to reason his shot would be fairly accurate because if you're a crisp playmaker who makes amazing passes, you kind of got to have that accuracy going on. So, with your pass, you would think it would transfer over to his shot a little bit.
You want to make a comment on the overturned Bruins goal?
The overturned Bruins goal. Yeah, well, that was great because they were pissed. And because, so first of all, when you look at it, you think, oh gosh, yeah, he's way offside, not even close. But then you think, oh, okay, wait a second, Krug touched it outside the zone, and because he touched it, he kind of deflected it or swiped at it, and then the puck came into the blue zone. So if a defensive player brings the puck from outside the Blues zone into the Blues zone while there's a Bruins player in the zone, it's not offside. That Bruins player is onside. If a Blues player carries or passes the puck into from outside the zone back into the Blues zone. That's not what happened here. Krug kind of swiped at it, never had possession of it, and it slid across the blue line as he was kind of battling for the puck with the Bruins player. And so that was not deemed to be possession. Therefore, the Bruins player was offside on the review. That's what the whole thing was about.
So I'll say that
Bruins Nation was pissed off.
When I watched this play originally, that was my first thought. Was I said, "Ooh, like the Blues are going to challenge that?" I was like, "No, that was Krug had possession." But then when I saw the replay, I'm like, "Oh no, that's not possession. That's he might have been the last one to touch it, but he didn't have possession of the puck."
He for sure touched it, yeah, but he swiped at it and he was battling for it, and he didn't have possession. He didn't. I mean, that was Brett Hull had more possession of the puck. He scored the overtime goal against the Sabres.
That's actually a great point.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true too.
Yeah.
So, this was once I saw that, I was like, okay, that should be a goal, and it was. But Bruins, you can't tell a Bruins fan that. They will say he had possession. Or not even know that the possession part is part of the rule. It has to be a carry into the zone or a pass into the zone, meaning you have possession. And that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Real quick. And Jack Edwards, sorry, Bill. Jack Edwards ranted on the Bruins broadcast after he saw the replay. He was like, he just went on his high-pitched voice. What are we doing? They got it wrong. All this bullshit. And I'm like, you're an idiot. You don't know the rule. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I will always cede my time for a takedown of Jack Edwards.
Moron. He's an idiot.
Worst homer announcer in sports.
If you're gonna be a homer, you better be right about your shit.
The way my program works is it basically decides for me. I can pick an option that it'll decide for me what broadcast I'm going to listen to, and or watch or whatever. And so, or I can choose to just, fuck it, I'll go pick the Blues. Usually I'll turn it on. I'll just say whatever's on. I don't care. I don't care what broadcast crew it is. Boston and Colorado are the only two where I will say absolutely not. I am going to the Blues broadcast.
That's what would you pick, Boston or Colorado, if you had to pick one?
If those two teams are playing, I find something else to do.
Yep. Both those teams. Yeah, and that was the case here. It turns on, and I noticed it was the Nesson feed, and I'm just like, nope, absolutely not. I am going to search out the Blues feed.
That's funny.
I did just see the goal in the Kraken Capitals game. Yeah, just a flub. And what I was going to add to the conversation about the disallowed goal was, I so happy for Hofer that got overturned, because it was just a bad luck bounce.
Yeah,
right. He tries to make the poke check and it just hops up in the air, perfect arc over him and I loved the cutaway when they went to the next commercial break after the announcement, and it was him just like, I got away with one.
Yep.
It was I love that feeling as a goalie. And,
we talked about it a couple weeks ago, Bill. We had my ice hockey goalie in the chat, and he had me tell you the story about the perfect fucking layout poke check he had on a guy, but just because of the angle, the puck just arched over his body and went top shelf into the net. And he even was like, what the hell? How did that get in the net? And it's just one of those things where you make a perfect poke check, but it can still find a way in the back of the net. And that is just, for a goalie, right? That's got to be one of the worst feelings in the world.
Yeah.
Like, you made the right play, but it still ended up in the net.
Yeah, unlike Chris Driedger in this game.
Yes. So my comment on the third goal the Blues scored, Kasperi Kapanen, I thought a very good play. And I'll admit, when I was watching this play develop live, it was a 3-on-1. He's skating in. He's going to the net. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Move it. What are you doing? And he feeds a perfect pass over to Kevin Hayes, who was the trailer. and he just puts it in the back of the net. Beautiful play by Kapanen. I love that he made me look stupid. I love when Blues players do that. I really do. Because I love when I'm like, motherfucker, what a stupid... Oh, wait, never mind. That was perfect. And that was one of those moments. So, great game overall by Kasperi Kapanen.
Also, a very boneheaded play by Kevin Shattenkirk, peeling away from Hayes to cover Saad at the back door.
Yeah.
That was very, very
Yeah,
bad
he gave
play.
him plenty of room to make that pass.
Yeah.
I think with as tight as Kapanen wasn't on the net, I think he goes over to play Hayes, and then you let your goalie try and block the pass across the crease.
Yeah.
But that's just me. What do I know? I'm a podcaster. Let's see. Fourth goal, offside on entry, right? For the Blues. Is that right, Kurt?
According to Nashville Bruins, sorry. He said the St. Louis's fourth goal, offside on the entry. And I'll go ahead and share this. I pulled up a screenshot of the moment that the puck entered the zone. There we go. If you can see it there on the YouTube, Facebook viewers, you can watch it. Podcasters gonna have to listen along. So the zone entry is super close. I mean, the puck is coming into the zone, and the back skate of, I don't know who that is. I can't tell the numbers here. But
I think that is Saad. Yeah, because he's the goal scorer.
Okay. And is it Falk that's the puck carrier?
No, it's Hayes.
No, it's Hayes.
Okay. So, yeah. And so Falk's back skate is, I mean, the back corner of his skate is above the blue line, onside, and the puck is just coming across the blue line. I mean, it's super close. It really is. But, you know, it looks like it's barely onside by a hair. So
at best, this is a tie.
Sure.
Right? Like, at best, the puck and the skate are in the zone at the exact same time. And tie goes to the runner.
It would take a very ballsy review decision by a team to risk a penalty for challenging this and losing.
Right. And I'll say too that the call on the ice, they basically, I say tie goes to the runner. Tie would go to what the call on the ice was, and a call on the ice was a goal. So yeah, it would have been a goal.
And yeah, I mean, this is the frame that does the next frame. The puck's already in and the skate's in, so it's like you can't. And this frame that I've got it frozen on, the puck is like halfway across. I mean, it's like half the puck is like across the inside edge of the blue line, so it's like getting ready to go, and the skate is about to the same spot. So I think the right call was made not to challenge this, because it's like, this looks like, if anything, it is onside. Or you said, Jeff, at worst for the Blues, it's a tie. I don't see how this benefits the Bruins in any way. It's not clearly offside at all.
And I'll say too, to get pissy about this, like this gentleman was, it's silly, because we all it's such a ticky-tack thing, right? And it's like, you can't get pissed about a ticky-tack offside, because it's just, again, like you said, Kurt, if it comes down to it and you challenge, and at best it's a tie, your team's getting a penalty.
Yeah.
So it's better to just not challenge and not get the penalty.
And how many times do you see a team challenge an offside call and lose? Rarely. Right. Rarely do you see an offside challenge lost. It's almost always nowadays upheld, overturned. Right? The call on the ice overturned. Yep. So
what's, how accurate has the Blues team been this year? Right. I think we're perfect on offside challenges.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I let me put it up there. There we go. All right. We're doing the same damn things.
We really are.
I'm clicking. I'm clicking. You're undoing. You're clicking. I'm undoing. So Justin Scott, and I didn't know this. Jack Edwards tweeted after the game, and I quote, "Players can win games, coaches can lose games, referees and linesmen can ruin games." What a fucking crybaby.
You know what, though? Honestly, he's right. I think
he is right. He is right.
But
not
to
in this game.
bitch about this game,
not in this game.
Come on, the Blues dominated this game. Maybe not shot-wise.
I don't say dominated.
I don't want to say dominated. They played very well. This was not the referees losing this game for the Bruins or ruining this game for the Bruins.
I think the Bruins played well. I think the Blues played well. It was a good game.
It's a good game.
And the Blues just happened to score more goals than the Bruins did. I mean, I think the Bruins took it to the Blues early on, especially in this game. And then the Blues got the first goal. It was not unlike the first period in the Game 7, except the Bruins weren't quite as dominant in this game early on.
Right.
But the Nashville Bruins guy, he's kind of just like echoing what Bruins Nation and Jack Dumbass Edwards is saying about this game. And it's like, you talk about a blind. We'll bring up later about people who watch games with bias. This is it. Jack Edwards, Bruins fans in general, apparently, just cannot be be neutral on anything. It should be super easy. It should be super easy to be impartial on a game like this when you have a fantastic team and you are in the playoffs. What are they in first place?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Well, who cares, right? You lost. Be fair in your analysis. Who cares if you lost? This isn't like a game that you needed to win to get that second wildcard spot where you're like extra bitter. You're in first place before this game. You're in first place after. What do you care? Why do you care that much?
They are not first place. They are going to play the Leafs in the first round as the 2-3 seed. Okay. Florida is your clubhouse leaders.
Right. Okay,
that's right.
Either way. So are they? Oh yeah. Well, they are 1 point behind Florida. So they're fighting for first in the division. Still, with that said, they're a good team. Blues are on the outside looking in right now.
Right.
And
I just want to point out that I lost my bottle opener and I just used scissors to open my beer. So
are those kitchen scissors?
Because kitchen scissors come with bottle openers.
Yeah, they should come with bottle opener on it.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Mine does not have one.
It's like the inside of
shitty kitchen.
The
scissors.
Inside of the scissor.
Yeah, should have a clip.
Because it's a pair of, like, one side, like one arm is a scissor, the other arm is a scissor, and together it's a pair of scissors. Okay. Right?
Sure.
Life lessons with Kurt Krebs.
It's like a pair of pants, right? We got one pant leg, another pant leg, and together it's a pair of pants.
Correct. What did you guys? Okay. What did you guys think? Sorry, I'm just moving on.
You thought you were going to get credit for being MacGyver and you got.
What did you guys think? No, I was proud of myself, and I don't think those. I'll have to bring them next time I come to
you
your
were proud
house.
of yourself for figuring out kitchen scissors.
I'm pretty sure those do not have that. Maybe they're not Christian scissors. I don't know. Either way. So,
that's great.
What did you guys think of the Bruins pulling their goalie with 9 minutes left?
They got what they deserved.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a real Patrick Waugh moment.
Yeah, that's pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, it's since Waugh started doing it, it is all of the risk analytics say you should do it, right?
Not that early though. I mean, I'll do it that early. Yeah. I know they say. I know. When I heard that a while back, I was like, wow, that is really early for the stats that say that. Well, you should.
Yeah, I think it's within 10 minutes with half the third period left.
Yep.
Isn't that as well? I mean, to me, I guess if I'm coaching, I might strategically pull a goalie with 8 minutes to go or something during a power play to get a 2-man advantage. If you need 3 goals or something, just to get 1 goal, I do it at that point, or do it like at the tail end of a power play so you can continue to have the man advantage for like maybe 3 minutes or so. I don't know. That I wouldn't just pull them out of the blue with 8 minutes to go down by 3. Because I'd have to have something to like an extra advantage, like, okay, a man advantage plus another for a 2-man advantage, something like that.
It was clearly strategic and meant to catch everybody off guard, and it caught John Kelly off guard.
Yeah, it did. That's a good point. Yeah, to do it with that. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it burned him right away, but still.
I'll admit, I was hoping when I saw, because they didn't, like you said, like Kelly didn't know, Jack Edwards didn't know, because I heard that call too. Because I think it literally had just happened. Like they just pulled him, and then the puck goes down the ice and in the net. Were you guys like me? Nothing against Jeremy Swayman. I actually like Jeremy Swayman as a goalie because he reminds me of Binnington, to be quite honest. But which that's a whole other conversation. But I actually appreciated, or I was actually thinking, I'm like, man, nothing against Jeremy Swayman. I kind of hope he still had a foot on the ice, so it wasn't counted as an empty net goal. But I watched the replay, and I'm like, damn it, he was on the bench.
He was clearly on the bench at that point. But yeah, no, I agree. I think he's an amazing goalie. Team USA is going to have some hard choices at the Olympics.
Agree.
Matthew Carpenter said there was a whole group of Boston fans that call themselves massholes, which I was aware of.
Yep.
And they are proud of it. Don't take them seriously. And Jack Edwards freely admits that he is biased when calling games. That's fine to be biased. I expect, like with your hometown broadcast, I expect a certain level of bias. Pang did it when he was here. You'll hear Pang be biased towards Chicago when he's doing the Blackhawks games nowadays. That's the hometown broadcast. They probably most fans, I guess, want that. I don't, but most fans do. But here's the thing.
It doesn't piss me off. Like,
if you're going to be biased, if you're going to be biased, be right in your bias. You know what I mean? Like, root for your team, cheer for your team on the broadcast, in a respectable way, but don't fucking be flat out wrong and don't lie about shit on the air, or just don't be ignorant about stuff. I mean, if you're going to be biased, be right, because you can be biased and be right. That's they can do that. That's impressive, actually, to be a biased broadcaster who's I'm rooting for your team and to be right about stuff. If you're wrong, then you're just an asshole.
Right.
An asshole.
No, I agree. I'm an asshole. Yeah. No, I have no problem with bias. I can deal with bias. I'm with you. I'd prefer they weren't, but I get it. It doesn't piss me off. It doesn't bother me. But when you're just flat out wrong and stupid and just ignorant about
it's annoying.
Then I'm sorry. I can't stand you. And I feel like that's Jack Edwards, and I can't think of his name, but the Avalanche announcer does the exact same thing.
Don't you want to be respectable, like as a broadcaster and your analysis? I mean, especially the color guys, right? The play-by-play guys, they do some analysis, but the color guys especially, their job is to analyze. And if you're just lying and not seeing stuff the way it actually happens, what's the point?
There was another team of broadcasters that I thought was even worse than Jack Edwards, and they've both lost their jobs since. And that was Bob Airy in Pittsburgh. He was let go after last season. He was terrible. Yeah. And I forget the name of the guy that he was his partner for many years, who got fired 3 years ago. I didn't like that they let go the other guy that came over from doing USA games, Team USA games, that is. And I'm blanking on his name right now, but God, those were the worst. Like in the prime of Sidney Crosby, like just terrible. Yeah. Wrong.
You're not talking about Mike Lang, who did radio.
No.
The other
Mike
guy.
Lang is a national treasure.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He was Lewis in the when they did the Christmas Vacation. The blessing. That was his line, and he pulled it perfectly.
Yeah.
God, I'm blanking on it.
I can't think of his name either.
I have this whole internet in front of me, and I can't even look it up.
Look it up. Why can't you?
No. But also, while we're on the subject of being wrong, we do need to make a correction. The own goal for Seattle tonight was not Drew Giroux, it was Joey Decord.
Oh, it's Joey Decord. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Swayman shoving Walker a couple times.
I love that.
I did too.
Yeah. Very Jordan Binnington.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you know what? And I love all that stuff. We've talked about this on the show.
Right, Steve Mears was this year. Yeah, he was the guy that came over from Team USA games. Okay. I'll look up the other guy. You guys talk about.
Sorry.
So
Swayman.
Yeah, no, and I when I saw this, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, this is fun. It wasn't anything dirty. It was just, I mean, Walker does what players typically do when the defense has the puck behind the goal. They'll stand, just outside the crease, and just kind of wait for them to make a move or force them to, see what they're going to do. And Swayman, it's a delayed penalty. Swayman goes to go off and skates right into Walker. Swayman knew what he was doing. Walker didn't move. He knew what he was doing. And, Swayman runs into him, and then he was like, what the fuck? And he shoves him a couple of times, and then Walker's ignores him and then skates with the play, and Swayman goes off. And, it was kind of a funny thing, I thought. But
I loved it.
Of course, Bruins Nation goes ballistic again over, what's Walker doing? You're getting Swayman's way. And I'm like, fuck off.
It's part of the
Jesus
game.
Christ.
You're getting in the goalie's head. That's what
Walker,
you do. I
Walker,
do that in beer league.
What? Swayman initiated this. Walker's not doing anything wrong. He's allowed to stand there. And Swayman skates directly into him. He could have went by him, didn't do it. And Walker maybe saw him coming, didn't move then. So it's whatever. I mean, and Swayman knew what he was doing.
Again, I love it. Give me that all day from Swayman. Give me that all fucking day.
Give me goalies that play with, passion, that care, that, if you're losing, you take a shot at a guy. Nothing dirty. Give him a shot, give him a shove, whatever, cup check. It's fine, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Some people nowadays, or a lot of people nowadays, man, the goalies can't do anything. If they do anything at all, especially Bennington, right? If Bennington did this, holy shit!
No,
the internet would collapse.
Not every goalie. Marc-Andre Fleury can do whatever the fuck Marc-Andre Fleury
he's
wants.
gotten fast.
He came down the ice to fight Bennington,
right?
So that was.
He's
awesome.
Perhaps the last of the Patrick Wild lineage as far as great goalies coming out of the queue, because it's been replaced by the Russians coming out of the queue.
This is true. I played against our friend here, Hotard12 in the chat. I pushed Ponder into Kincaid, who's one of our goalies, on Sunday. He's right. He did, and then he fucking scored. So, yeah, fuck you, Hotard.
There's no interference
I say
call.
That lovingly.
No interference call.
No, it was not called.
Call.
Honestly, we were battling in front of the net, and he's just I don't know if you know Hotard.
Yeah.
He is a big man.
Yeah,
and
he wears my number.
Oh, he said something that
I think he wears my number.
Up.
Is he wear 12?
Yeah, Hotard 12. Yeah. Yes, he wears 12.
Yeah, he wears my number. I'm letting him borrow it because I've retired.
That's what it was. Yeah, but no, he knocked me down, scored the goal, and then he turned around. I think he just flexed, and goes, "Big man," and I was like, "Okay, that was pretty good."
Boy, if Jack Edwards were calling that game, he'd be posting on social media. The ref stole the game.
That's right.
And to tie a bow on that, Paul Stegerwald was the Bob Airy partner that was insufferable, and actually, they had a whole thing that they had to apologize for. But I think we can move on because this is a Blues podcast,
right? Why do people hate when goalies stir things up a little bit? Why do people? What? No, I'll rephrase. Why do people fake the hate? They love it internally, but they project hate. They love watching it. They can't look away. They can't look away.
Everybody loves to bitch that goalies like to dive, and that we use the you can't hit us even if we're out of the crease, and it's all just part of the act, right? It's all bullshit.
I don't know why. The fake outrage. Why can't you just embrace it for what it is? It's amazing.
Matthew Carpenter, sorry, I think it's Matt Harris. I am taking away your comment of the show I gave you earlier. I'm giving it to Matthew Carpenter on Facebook here. I don't care what position the player plays. I'll take guys that you have to tell to dial it down a notch over guys that you have to kick in the ass to get any intensity out of them every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Great show. And I think we're all thinking the same terms of goalie. Jake Allen versus Jordan Binnington. Jake Allen was the most vanilla goalie I have ever seen, and it drove me fucking crazy. Guys would crash into him, and he would just lay there and not do a thing about it. I'm not saying I need a cross-check to the face or something, but how about hey, dude, get the fuck off me. You could tell he just sat there and took it. And it's like, give me a Binnington, man. Give me a guy who's going to fight back and say, fuck you, stay out of my crease.
Jake Allen is the equivalent to Pietrangelo getting sat on by Jamie Benn.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, my God, show some fucking fight at all, a little bit. Jesus Christ. That's out of everything Pietrangelo did when he was here, that pissed me off more than anything. I was like, are you kidding? You let him do it to you? I mean, just what is wrong with you?
The minute he gets up off me and skates away, I'm hacking.
Oh, the biggest two-hander on the back of the calf. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, give me a 5-minute major and a game misconduct. I don't care.
It was Justin Scott. That's right. Justin Scott says, hey, I got a comment of the show, you fucker, Jeff. I'm revoking that season ticket, you son of a bitch. Tell you what, Justin, I got one of those giveaways last night. It was the hat that you can remove and switch out the patch on the front.
How is that? Is that nice?
I'm not okay. It's nice. It's cool. But I'm a fitted hat guy. I'm sorry. I am a snob when it comes to hats. I only wear fitted hats. So I'm going to give that to you, Justin. Shoot me over your address and I will ship it to you. You just got yourself a new Blues hat because you're right. I did take away your comment of the show, but hey, you get something better. You actually get a gift. I'll send you the hat.
Wow. And now the guy that gets to comment on the show is like, well, I got shafted.
Yeah, you did. Sorry, Matthew Carpenter. You got my admiration. That's what you get.
Like, well, what am I, chop liver? That was a saying back in the 50s.
So in this game, shots 37-22. Boston, Hofer, 36 saves on 37 shots. Thought he played very well in this game. Blues, 1 for 3 on the power play, and Boston goes 0 for 3. So the Blues special teams righted the ship that we saw against the Rangers, played a very good special teams game against Boston. Next game, again, I was at this one, my son's first game of the year. Jake Allen had a great night against Dallas tonight in Dallas, 36 saves. All right, good for him. I'm sure New Jersey loves him. Yeah.
I seriously thought that they were just bringing him in for locker room presence to help the other goalies. I didn't
mimic
expect
the other team's goalie.
Yeah.
Well, they completely revamped their goaltending. They got him and who's the other guy they got? Kakkonen. Yeah, that's right. So the Blues came home and got a huge win over the Kings, 3-1 on Wednesday. Again, I was at this game. This was, what do they call it? Retro night. So fuck those clown jerseys, but I will say wearing them once a year,
it's fine.
I am totally cool with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's actually fun and nostalgic when it's only once. I'm totally cool with that.
Said this before, like seeing Kyrou out there, I think, oh, there's Pascal Realms out there.
Yep.
It's like I see players from my past using the same numbers as today. That's what I think of. But one and done. Don't make this a half a dozen times a year thing.
When Brandon Saad tipped in that third goal, I even said out loud, and I just go, "What a tip by Adam Creighton!"
Yeah, right.
Nice.
And then Shen is like, "Oh, that's a Tikkanen's back out there."
Yep.
Very nice. No, I said it when the game started. I refer to the game as the Battle of the Abominations because the Blues wore those jerseys and the Kings wore those fucking helmets. Yeah. It's okay on a goalie. It's not okay on 20 out players. That is fucking terrible. Yeah. Only thing worse is when Vegas does it in their C3PO
those
gold.
Are hideous.
What is Hotard trolling, or does he really like that red?
No, he's for real. He likes the retros. He likes the reverse retros. So does my wife. My wife owns.
I would.
Who owned the Chiefs?
Who owned a red jersey? My wife owns one of the red ones, the reverse retros. So, Hotard, you are no longer allowed to talk to my wife because you both have horrible taste.
To each his own, but I love to hear people say, I like to ask people, why? Why do you like them? It's just a legit question. It's like, do you just have bad taste in design, or is it?
My wife says they look good on the ice.
Do you like a lot of red on a Blues jersey? The slanted numbers on the back, no thank you.
I think if the numbers weren't slanted, if the stripes weren't horizontal, it just looked like a hockey jersey, I still wouldn't like it, but I would be like, I can deal with that.
Well, just having like the traditional stripes at the bottom, like the 3 stripes at the bottom, and have a red stripe at the very bottom, instead of the big sea of triangle red bullshit they got going on. And the no diagonal letters. That's better. It's not great, but it's better, much better.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy one, but I wouldn't be like, that's an abomination. Don't ever wear it.
But the diagonal shit is what makes it ugly. The diagonal all over the place, the slanted numbers. That's there's too much going on. Like the 5 yellow strings for the guitars and all this crap. Like, come on.
Yeah. The one bit of nostalgia I get is the blue note that was worn prior to. Right?
It's smaller though. Do you know that? It's smaller. It's not as big.
It's smaller, but same.
Yes,
they didn't fuck with other elements of the design other than size.
The note itself, right, even though it has St. Louis on it,
they had to shrink it because of the fucking diagonal.
Right. Mm-hmm. So and they brought over the blue note, but they brought over the worst aspect of it too, was the St. Louis across the top. Doesn't need that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
So
I don't mind that. It was the or the Ruth Ornest with blues written over the top in an arch.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That was the worst design.
I agree with that too. I agree with that. But the St. Louis written inside the blue note, I thought when they went to the clown jerseys, they could have at least taken that out of there, and kept the shape of the blue note. That would have been the way to go. But I mean, they were called the clown jerseys for a reason, and they were only lasted here for a very short time in the 90s for a reason. The fans didn't like them. The players hated them. I don't know. It's Keenan era. Who wants to remember that?
We have bitched about these jerseys over and over. And I will say, I did see another comment on Twitter from I think he was like a Stars fan or something. He commented on the NHL's post about this game, and he was like, "Oh, I guess Blues are feeling nostalgic around Gretzky, huh?" And I was like, yeah, that's interesting that's what fans associate with that. It's unfortunate that's the jersey Gretzky wore as a blue. But...
Well, you don't want to say it's because of Keenan, because no one wants to remember him.
Yeah.
Hotar does say some people understand the reverse retro assignment and some people don't. I understand the reverse retro assignment.
They picked the wrong jersey.
They picked the wrong jersey to do it. Right. Exactly. They didn't have to use that one.
They should have used
the worst jersey. I understand if you had to go with that jersey. Well, okay, yeah, I get you flip flop the colors. I understand that part, but I'm like, no, they could have done a different jersey.
I'll say what a lot of fans have said. I think what they should have done is gone with the Arch logo jersey from a couple years ago and just make a white one. Yeah, a white one. I think that would have been way cooler, and I would have bought one. I think I would have bought one.
Well, we're due for the reemergence of reverse retro next year. It's every other year.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think Stillman ever brings that one back because that's associated with
it's
check-its. Yep. But either way, still. And I'll say just again, we bitched about this jersey a ton. But again, one night a year, I fucking think it's awesome. I love it. Yeah. And my wife is a huge fan, so it fulfills her need. She was excited when she found out that we were going to this game. She's like, "Oh, we get to see the retro jerseys." And I'm like, yeah. And again, it was fun. It was cool to see. And I loved, and I wish the NHL would do this shit more often. I love that the Kings wore their retro jerseys too. When one team wears their retros, the other team should too. It makes it so much more fun.
If only they didn't have to wear those fucking helmets.
It's the helmets that sucked.
The Hotar did say that we're the Blues as in blues music, not the color. Yeah, I know. But also, if you look back to the roots of when the Blues were named the Blues, it is rooted from the color.
Yes, they did call that out.
It's like something to do with dyeing rags blue while certain music was being sung, and it was called the Blues because of the rags that were dyeing blue or something like that. So that's so you can say it's from the music, but the music is derived from the color. So it does originate back to the color.
All right, so let's talk about the game itself. So we had a couple comments here from Justin Scott basically asking us if he's insane for loving Alexei Toropchenko. No, you are not, sir. Toropchenko and Brandon Saad both scored for the second straight game. For Brandon Saad, that is 20 goals for the 7th season in his career, which is impressive, and I will never understand the hate he gets from certain Blues fans. But Alexei Toropchenko, 4th goal in 7 games for a 4th liner. That's pretty impressive. We have sung his praises on this show a lot, actually, and I know even Doug Armstrong has flat out said that He's an excellent player on this team. Keep him on this fourth line forever until he's ready to retire. I love his game, and I love because he works hard. And we heard comments from him in the past when he was a rookie talking about how this is the NHL. We should be playing harder. And it's like, this kid's a fucking rookie and he gets it. And it's just, that's the kind of thing I want from my fourth liner. I could see if the Blues do re-up him for another 1, 2, 3 years. Hey, I might see myself getting myself a Toropchenko jersey. So Justin Scott, you have got thumbs up from me to go ahead and get that jersey.
This Toropchenko goal was interesting because it Talbot saw it the whole way and just well, and Boucher said during the broadcast that he was expecting a deflection and never got it, and that threw him off. And Henrik Lundqvist, got it right this week, said it in the intermission break on TNT, that same kind of thing. He's like, yeah, when you got a puck going through that you see and you're expecting a tip, because NHLers are so good nowadays at getting sticks on pucks, sometimes it throws you off. And Mike, I forgot his name. Mike, the goalie from St. Louis, Mike McKenna. Friend of the show. Said the exact same thing. He goes, you know what? Every goalie has one of those a season where it just goes in and you think it's going to be deflected and it's not touched and it gets you. It sneaks by you. And it happens once a year usually. So it happens.
I mean, it's true. Me as well, the guy hasn't played in 15 years, but my initial instinct was you don't play for the tip. You have to react to the tip. I'm just outdated. I'm outdated.
Do you play just the tip? Or?
I play just the tip. I play that often, actually.
What did you play? At the game you play, Jeff?
I play it all the time. Yeah, I love just the tip. Just see how it feels.
Yeah, it was just first Jews.
Sorry, Bill.
Then Hitler.
No. I feel like this is a more universal thing for guys, though. Right?
See, yeah, we can laugh about it, but it still doesn't make it right.
No, that was I lost track of where we're at.
So before we get back on track, where was it? There was a comment from Matthew Carter. There it is. Said there was a jersey from that era that Keenan vetoed that was the worst ever. They were going to use it as a third, and had a trumpet on the front of it with a picture of it in the Note by Notebook coffee table book that came out. And I got it right here. There it is.
Yep. Yeah, that's the one with the trumpets going up, and yeah, they had music notes and shit on the sleeves, and there was yellow and blue. It's just hideous.
And the cool cat was supposed to be the mascot, which is and
now again, if you had hold that up again.
Oh shit! I just lost the page.
Oh, don't worry about it then. If you had a kids night or something where it's kids night, kids get in for half off or whatever, and they wore those jerseys, I would be like, that's cool. Like one night, sure. But to wear that as your third jersey, hell no.
This was in the same era, though, in their defense. This was in the same era.
Burger King?
The Burger King for the Kings, and the duck breaking through the ice for Anaheim. So, I mean, there were some really stupid jerseys there in the 90s that teams did for third jerseys. There's off-the-wall bananas. Worse than roller hockey, loud jerseys. It was crazy.
So if there's one thing that we can thank Mike Keenan for, it is restraint.
Yeah.
Does it surprise you that a guy like Mike Keenan would veto that jersey? I mean, he's not really a flashy.
I would hope that Armstrong would also veto that jersey.
I mean, there were some teams that went with jerseys like that, which was again the Burger King one with the Kings. That wasn't as bad as this one, but the Ducks one
fish sticks.
Crazy. The fish
sticks.
That's not too bad.
But I don't know.
Not as bad as this one.
The same time you say that
feels peak 90s, whereas this would have been maybe
the same time Bill says that. For us, at least, Matthew Carpenter in the Facebook chat, the Islanders fisherman jerseys, look them up. We know. We don't need to look them up.
Austin,
the Gordon's fisherman,
2 shows ago.
Some people love those things.
I'm a fan. I didn't hate them when I was younger.
I didn't
and I don't hate them now, but I'm like, I see why Islanders fans hate them.
Well, here's the deal. You're going from what I thought was an iconic jersey before. And you go to that. I'm like,
yeah.
That was not that. I mean, based on the logo they were coming from, going to that one on the jersey, the crest, I was like, no, that's a big step back for me. I like the NY and the island, the circle. I like that quite a bit.
So Kevin Hayes in this game, 700th NHL game. So that's exciting. And he's had some big games. He had a big goal against Boston, scored a big goal against Philadelphia on the breakaway. So good to see him get his 700th game. That's a nice milestone for any NHL player. And in this game, again, I thought Blues played pretty well. The shot, I think the shots were even. Were they not? Fairly even?
Oh, I was
41 to 30 for LA. We'll talk about
really
Binnington. Not really even. Yeah, but the Blues did have a lot of shots. They did put 30 shots on net.
Yeah.
But I thought Binnington, again, we'll talk about him in a minute. I thought he had an excellent game. And I thought the defense played pretty well. This was the first game Matthew Kessel played in after his extension. I liked his game. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But I thought overall just a very good game by the Blues to take down a team that they are kind of chasing in the wild card spot.
Yeah. Well, if you listen or if you read Pete Blackburn, he wasn't a fan of Binnington's game in this game. Who I thought Binnington was fantastic in this game.
Should we just do it, because that's the biggest save of the game, I thought. Do we want to go ahead and just, Bill, you ready? You want to
let's
jump into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, so we are going to move into our new favorite segment.
We're going balls deep here.
We're going balls deep in this one.
Oh, good Lord. We are moving into Bill Day.
We should rename this.
Oh, good Lord.
Rename it Balls Deep with Bill Day.
I think that's a horrible idea. Let's just call it Bill Day's Save of the Week. Here we go.
Somewhere, boys, we're missing out on getting a prophylactic provider as a advertiser.
How is this not a thing? But I mean, your initials are Bill D, BD.
Right.
Balls deep with Bill Day. That rolls off the tongue, man. That is great. That's a great segment when you break
ball. Hey, there it is. Balls deep, save of the week.
Oh man. Balls deep with Bill Day.
All right.
I like it. I'm gonna.
You
get a new graphic for next week.
My life has changed after this show. All right, so we are going to get into the save of the week this week. So we're going to roll the video. This lovely graphic. Hey, look, Ted Stanowski. All right, so we're going to watch this. We're going to watch it through one time. All right, and just amazing sequence all around. But as we get into the breakdown here, I'm going to tell you that right there, that's not the save of the week. That is not the save of the week. Mikey Anderson, shame on you. Shame on you, Mikey Anderson. Pinpoint shot that goes in, right? Binnington was
he Marchand.
Totally thrown off by Toropchenko blocking the shot. Does what he needs to do to get across, but this hits the fucking logo. Mikey Anderson, pick that fucking corner, you fucking ankle bender. All right.
That's Marchand. Marchand did the same thing to Binnington in Game 7.
Yeah. So that's not the save of the game. Unfortunately, that was our best angle. I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna back it up right here. Right here. There, right there. This is the best angle of it.
Save of the week.
Save of the week.
Going balls deep there.
It was the 2-pad stack, right? Look at that. 2-pad stack follows through with the angel kick up to the sky. It's not that save. It's not on Mikey Anderson. It's on Drew Doughty coming in from the point, pulls it to the inside. He, everything about that sequence is just insane. Doughty is coming straight down central. He's looking at what he's got, and he's got his legs out. I'm going the other way. The save is made by the helmet and the shoulder.
Yeah.
It's not made by the pads. Bennington forces this shot from Doughty, in my opinion. And, that to me is the state of the game. Bringing back the 2-pad stack anytime you can get that. And he kind of 2-pad stacks right here as he makes the switch, right? He goes there, kicks the right leg up. Not so much a 2-pad stack, but it's the same form. But then he has the presence of mind to get down and cover as much of the net going the other way as possible. Kicks his leg up, forces Doughty to try to go the other way, and gets his face in front of it. Again, Mikey Anderson, pick a corner, buddy. Pick a corner.
I'll say on that one, though, and go ahead and talk to this too, Bill. Yes, Mikey Anderson comes back across the crease and hits Bennington in the logo. But how about that push across from Bennington on that play? Because it's a deflected puck off. Fiala takes the shot, deflects off a blue, goes right to Mikey Anderson. Bennington's pushing across so well on that play.
Yeah, that is like, if I get back into playing, like that is, I'm probably going to pull my groin probably about 5-6 times in training, getting ready, because that is so different, right? Having the skates, talked about this a couple of weeks ago. The skates are different these days, so they're player skates. They're much When I played, they were flat. Everything was flat. You had a very, very dull sharpness to the game, right? And now they're much more like player skates. You use it, you kick off, and you push. And Bennington is so good at that. And I hated Pete Blackburn's post saying that it wasn't a good save. You're out of position. You're getting back over. Actually, no. That first save, I really do think Mikey Anderson needs to pick a corner there, and that should be a goal, right? He shouldn't be shooting back across the green into the logo.
Here's Pete Blackburn's quote, if I can read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Not impressed. And he's got a video embedded in his tweet of this sequence that we're just looking at here. He says, not impressed. Stay in the crease and stop being such a showboat, making a mockery of the game I love.
Yeah.
Says the guy who's a Sabres fan and grew up watching Dominik Hasek. Listen, nothing against Dominik Hasek, but that guy was all about the fucking spine,
slinky
he's the spine, jumping around, making ridiculous saves.
Most unorthodox goalie in NHL history. I despise Hasek because he took the greatest goalie moniker from Patrick Waugh, but goddamn, that guy, he's the MacGyver of goalies, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever it takes to make a save, and he knew how to do it.
And I'm sorry, Pete Blackburn. Bennington's in the crease the whole time.
Yeah. At the very least, at the end, his foot is still in the crease.
He's at the red line on top of the crease. That's where he is.
Right.
It's not like he came to the hash marks.
No. Blackburn's a douche.
It's an inhuman reaction to be able to adjust to the puck going off Toropchenko over to Mikey Anderson, and if it goes to Anze Kopitar, Adrian Kempe, they're probably going bar down, and they're picking that corner, right? Mikey Anderson, defenseman, coming in. I'm obviously I'm taking a piss on that, but Mikey Anderson's an NHL defenseman. He's much more talented than anybody I am ever going to play against in my life. But anybody else that can pick that corner is going to do it. And, it led to our save of the week, which is 2-pad stack. We don't get to say that enough in 2024.
Dude, it's so funny. If anyone who plays with me, and if Hotard's still listening, you know it. Anytime there's a breakaway or a shootout, I am always yelling at the goalie, 2-pad stack. Like, as I always want to see it. I'm like, come on, give me the 2-pad stack. And there was one time where we were up like 8-1 on this team, and it was late, and the other team got a breakaway, and I was on defense. So, of course, that's why they got a breakaway, because I was on defense. And I'm like down in my zone yelling at my goalie, 2-pad stack. And he does. He pulls a 2-pad stack. And the other guy got so pissed. He was like, dude, you're up 8-1. Come on. And I was like, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. So yeah, just that the save of the week goes to Jordan Biddington on Drew Doughty, not on Mikey Anderson. Yes. And while we're giving the Biddington, well, I'll save this to the end because I think we have to end this game with the post game interview with Brian Boucher.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'll add one more thing for this game, and I know that this is a long drawn out argument fight we've had here at Let's Go Blues Radio with other people, not with each other. So at most games, I try to post something on Twitter, just kind of my kind of closing thoughts on the game, what I thought. So I went to this game, didn't really tweet much. I think I just tweeted a picture of me and my son at the game. But then when I got home, put him right to bed because he was tired. I was like, hey, now that I'm home, let's put on the analyst hat. Here's what I thought of the game. And, again, it's Twitter, so you can only post, 240 characters. All I said was, Kessel was hungry tonight, all over the ice. I think St. Louis finishes outside playoffs, but Biddington ain't going down easy. Kyrou was a dumpster fire. Bolduc, Booch, Neighbors line must stay together. And most people agreed. And those kind of tweets that I make like that usually get a lot of love because, typically it's just, some of them are easy observations. Some of them are like, oh, hey, that's a good thought. Well, every now and then I get the haters, and this was one of those cases, which I thought was crazy. To get a
you got the advanced stats hate.
Yeah. So Nick,
leave Jordan Kyrou alone.
Yeah, basically is what this was. So he posted 2 metrics from is that natural stat trick? I can't remember. It's the player card one, the stat card. What's that one called? Hell, I'm drawing a blank on it. But either way,
doesn't matter.
He posted metrics from this game, and he quotes at the top, Kessel was hungry tonight, all over the ice, and then quote, Kyrou, absolute dumpster fire. Which, by the way, I think it's hilarious that he didn't actually quote me. Like, he quoted me, but it wasn't actually what I said. What I said was actually shorter than what he said. That's beside the point. He says, nothing anyone says about this Blues team is objective. It's actually unbelievable. And his point, I guess, was that, well, and so I did respond. We talked back and forth a little bit. I tried to be as civil as possible. And basically, he was pissed because I said Kessel played well and Kyrou didn't. When you look at the metrics, basically, when Kyrou was on the ice, the Blues were playing good offense. When Kessel was on the ice, there was some mistakes defensively, and they didn't play as much offense. That does not, to me, directly relate to the player. But it's funny that he said that because a lot of times, because what he said was basically Kessel was not good tonight. When Kyrou was on the ice, Kyrou was, leading the offense, and the offense was buzzing the whole time, and all this shit about how good Kyrou was in this game. Okay, advanced metrics are not taking into account when Kyrou just fucking bobbles the puck and loses it. Maybe they had 3 or 4 shots on goal before that happened, but it's like, dude, you should be a superstar. You are fumbling passes like a fucking beer leaguer or like a 12-year-old, and it's not taking that into account. And then I look closer at these stats, and I kind of laughed. Because he basically said, making fun of me for Kessel being all over the ice tonight. If you look at the metrics, actually, he did have a good game. He didn't lead the offense a lot, but defensively, he had a good game by the metrics.
And if you look at the metrics, I'm like,
that's what you're looking for with a defenseman, is to have good metrics defensively.
And if you look at Kyrou's metrics, his offense is a negative on this. Yeah. So I'm not. His on-ice offense, and it's to the left of that middle bar, which is nice. So if we're talking advanced stats, I mean, Kyrou had a poor offensive night, according to this.
Exactly. And so it's like that is not the game to draw that argument. But this is a guy that has Jordan Kyrie's high school graduation picture as his main picture or whatever it is. I don't know, but yeah. So it's just funny because I look at it and it's like, dude, if you actually look at the analytics, even the analytics are telling you kind of what I said. Like, he still wasn't great offensively. Kessel played well defensively, but just because I guess Kessel wasn't driving the offense, Kessel had a bad game. And it's like, okay, analytics people, you're not looking at the whole game, even when you're taking into account your metrics. So to me, that is most important for a Matthew Kessel, a defensive defenseman who's a rookie. He's having a good defensive game. I don't give a shit what his offensive numbers look like. If he's keeping the puck out of the net, that's all that matters.
I've heard this argument before, and this is from a comment of his during your discussion. He goes, a set of eyes from a fan base who are mostly filled with people who have never played semi-professional, let alone pro hockey, that argue on Twitter about why Kyrie was bad, ? Trust me, I won't be taking that take with any substantial amount of trust. Data doesn't have bias, people do. And I'm like, well, I mean,
but
yeah.
People are the ones comparing the data.
Yeah, and some people,
there is bias.
Some people do have bias. A lot of people do. But the thing is that be careful who you debate with and argue with on social media, because you may just be discussing this with someone who kind of knows what they're talking about as far as the ins and outs of someone having a good game versus a bad game. It's not rocket science. If you've been around the game for a while and you played the game it's just kind of like second nature to understand, what goes into a good game visually compared to a bad game. And I don't like the blanket statement that, all advanced stats are always better, because people, in quotes, have a bias. Just because some people have a bias and don't know how to analyze the game fairly doesn't mean that those that don't have a bias when they're analyzing a game fairly their eye test doesn't supersede or trump the advanced stats you see on a spreadsheet. That's bananas to me, that someone who won't even watch the game, but they'll have a spreadsheet of advanced stats in front of them, and they will argue with you, who, if you watch the entire game in detail and you know what you're looking for when you analyze a player, they will argue to the death that they understood that game better than you.
Yep.
And that's bananas.
So I'll say, one of the things that because I did look up a bunch of shit today on advanced stats. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just not understanding it. Maybe I'm still just at this point where I just don't get it. And so I did read a lot this morning before I started work about, analysts' take, like actual analysts' take on analytics in hockey. And there was a guy I saw on Reddit who was an actual analyst for his job. He forecasted shit for a financial company. He does all these analytics to show where the markets are going to be. So this dude clearly understands the mathematics, the algorithms that go into analytics. And he flat out said on this Reddit post, he was basically comparing or using analytics in sports is basically like predicting the weather. Mm-hmm. So basically there's a lot of, if the game is played correctly, this is going to happen. And that's kind of what analytics of all things are related to. It's, if the game's played correctly, it should happen this way. And, and that's why we have that, what's that called? The deserve to win meter in Money Puck. Because if the game's played the right way, it's played to 100% perfection, this team is going to win every time. And he says, basically, the averages of these things are right about 60% of the time. So that's just over half of the time analytics are telling you the full story. Not even the full story, a portion of the story. 60% of the time. So the fact that some people are living and dying by that, you're going to be wrong 40% of the time. That's crazy.
At least 40% of the time. Right? It's all, everything's built on probabilities. Right, you take data and you build probability models. That's what Dom does, right? Our nemesis.
And he's always having to read those things.
Right. No, and that's right. And they're always trying to tweak them, always trying to make them better. And I give them credit for that. But it's all about probability. But when you actually watch the outcome of the game, right, it's important, right? Like Justin says, Jordan Kyrou's puck handling is abhorrent. And I know that because I watched the game, right?
Right.
He can give you all kinds of probabilities of expected goals, but he's not getting them. He isn't putting up the numbers that he should be putting up because he hasn't learned how to control the fucking puck when he gets past.
I'd rather deal in what's really happening as opposed to what's supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And advanced stats are very presumptuous in how the game should be played. And the nature of this, of hockey, the nature of the game, maybe more so than most sports, it's almost chaos out there. I mean, if you've ever played hockey, organized hockey, sometimes, quite often on the ice, it's organized chaos out there. And we've said in the show a number of times that hockey really is a series of mistakes that a team will make, each team makes. And it's just a matter of which team capitalizes on the most mistakes or takes advantage of it. And so I don't know how anybody can put 100% faith in advanced stats on a spreadsheet, black and white stuff, when you're dealing with a semi-chaotic situation in the first place. How do you predict chaos? And I say chaos because I mean, you look at some of these scrums, puck battles, deflections, ice conditions, whatever. I mean, there's so many things that happen that affect the play, that, the puck bounces this way, that way, off the boards, a certain angle this way, off a rough skate. It's just, there's so many things going on that you can't control. And then and then which team takes advantage of that situation the most is what is in the end is who wins. So, trying to say, well, he should have made this many saves based on where the shots are coming from and all this bullshit. I'm like, you know what? They're fun to look at. I like using them as a tool after I've watched a game to kind of like see how it compares. But man, using them like as an end all be all to form to actually literally form an opinion for me, I think you're going on the wrong path. You end up looking silly.
I have had okay, let's use Wyshynski as the example because we've all talked about him in the past. And let's just say, if he did this differently, if he wrote a post last season, let's say, remember last season when he said that shit, when Armstrong came out and said, Binnington's been great. He's the only one that's playing great for us. And then Wyshynski posted his advanced stats and was like, what? And he was arguing with Blues fans, including us, over and over about how Binnington's awful because the analytics say so. Like, okay, if he writes a post, hey, here's why Binnington's bad because I'm paying attention to the analytics. The analytics say he's bad. But then people respond and say, hey, we're watching the games. This is not the case. And then he says, you know what? You're right. If I'm not watching the games, I'll watch the next 5 Blues games and then I'll form my own opinion. I can respect the hell out of that. I'm all for it. Okay, go form your own opinion. And if you still think he sucks, that's your opinion. But when you just base everything off, well, the spreadsheets say that he is bad or he's not having a good game, or in Kyrou's case, like this guy said, he's been fantastic. Anyone who says so as otherwise is stupid because they're not paying attention to analytics. That's ridiculous to me. Watch the game, form your opinion, and if you want advanced stats to either back that up or go against it and then kind of reform your opinion, I'm cool with that. But don't just go off fucking spreadsheets and tell me that this is how it is, because that's not how any part of this world works. That's just not how it is.
I was saying Money Puck, the last 2 games, the Blues won. Money Puck, according to the advanced stats, where the shots came from, quality of shots, blah, 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 blah. All those advanced stats they factor into running simulations of this game based on those stats 1,000 times. They had the Kings winning and the Bruins winning. So, yeah. And we talk about that a lot, about how those deserve to win-o-meter things they have. They're quite often wrong. So
right, it's all based on probabilities. So while we're on the subject, there are times when the eye test and the advanced stats come together, and we can all live in harmony. Well,
right,
us in Blues Nation. And so I'm gonna read a tweet here from friend of the show, Kevin Woodley.
Oh, nice.
Kevin Woodley of Ingle Magazine and Vancouver Canucks world of hockey. So he gets to watch a lot of Thatcher Demko. So he knows a thing or two about good goaltending. Also, Ingle Magazine, if you're goalie interested, goalie adjacent, whatever.
I will add real quick too. I believe it's Michael Hebert, our friend of the show from Oilers Live, but it could be someone else. Somebody we know has played against Kevin Woodley in goal and has told me that he is fucking phenomenal for a beer league goalie. So add that in too to his resume.
So my typical Friday night is pouring a good drink and going back and watching all of the Ingle Magazine product drops for the week. It's my favorite thing to do. I might be throwing some business the way of Source for Sports here soon. But Kevin says, new leader at top ClearSight Analytics hockey, goals saved above expected. Welcome to the Vezina conversation, Jordan Binnington.
Wow.
So we have been praising the man all season. He got our save of the show or save of the week this week. He's had such an understated great season. He leads the league in expected goals saved above expected. Easy for me to say, at 25.36. Surprisingly, Jacob Markstrom right there. Flames had Blues and Flames have had terrible seasons. So if you're looking for the goaltending to tell the story for the whole team, this isn't that season. Connor Hellebuck is third. The Jets have fallen off at this point, right? So it's not always about the goaltending, but give me the guy atop this pile, atop this advanced stat and goal. We have him here in St. Louis, and I love every second of it.
I do love the fact that you basically, in your way of explaining the accolades for Jordan Binnington, you said he was the recipient of our save of the week. You have a choice between two guys, Bill. It's Binnington and Hofer.
Hey, Hofer had 34 saves that we could have picked in the Bruins game.
That is true, and he had a good game.
Yep.
And I'll add with the Binnington advanced stats to close out my thoughts on this horrible take from this fella that started this whole conversation. There was a Kings fan that posted, LA Kings Nick is his Twitter or X profile. He says, let's be 100% clear. Binnington deserves 0 of the credit for that win. He made 1 to 2 decent saves. The rest were muffins from 60 feet. This team structure is what is losing games. You will not score if you stay to the outside. And then this Nick fella, who I mentioned earlier, he said, definitely, man. And he posted his advanced stats from, I think that's from Money Puck. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, first of all, he had like 3. It said he had 3 or 4 high danger chances. 3. And medium danger 13. There's a lot of goalies that are giving up a lot of those medium danger chances. Like that, first of all, you're not reading the analytics correctly because there were some good chances. Plus, he faced 41 shots.
What's a good save percentage for medium danger chances? Like so 13 medium danger chances having it's maybe 900 at best.
That's what I was thinking.
880. I mean, so he did great with the medium danger, obviously great with the high danger.
I'm pretty sure high danger they scored on the one that was high, one of the 3 that was high danger.
It was in tight. It should have been high danger.
Yeah,
I mean, after mid to save.
You're talking about the Kempe goal.
Yeah.
That Parayko got the wrong side of Kempe.
Yeah, and the rebound, the save and the rebound. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Doughty did a great job on that to draw everybody to him, but
you won't see that in advanced stats either. That the fact that Doughty drew people to him, you won't see that. That's not, how do you advanced stat that?
Right.
And that's the thing. There's so many nuances with the game.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many
fucking
things.
Tell with the spreadsheet.
Right. Kempe used that to get position on Parayko. And, the Parayko haters will say, well, he should have just cross-checked him down like Pronger would have done. It was a great play by Kempe.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Bennington made the first save. Parayko's on the wrong side of him. Letty is not going to get a stick in across to, knock the puck away. It was a great goal. It was a great team goal by LA, I thought.
All right. So there we go. There's our weekly analytics pitch. And again, man,
almost like social media fails came back today, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I'll say, I think I'm speaking for all three of us. We don't hate analytics.
I love analytics.
Love looking at analytics.
They're
love
fun. They're fun.
But I'm sorry, like at the very best, analytics are on par with the eye test. I think eye test is way more important.
That's a stretch.
But yeah, it's a stretch. I agree. But some people will tell you analytics are way more important. And to me, those are the people who don't really understand hockey, but they want to act like they do.
They don't understand hockey, and they probably it might come from journalists, people like Wyshynski, maybe even, who can't watch every game, but they're expected to report on all these teams, and so they don't watch the games. They might see highlights, but they can't watch every game. So they pivot to advanced stats to help them form their opinion. And again, that's what they have to do.
More than okay with that, but it's the Wyshynski pushback when people say, "Hey, man, I'm watching the games. That's not what's happening." Well, that is what's happening.
Exactly.
Fuck you. You don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where I take issue with it. Other than that, if journalists want to rely on analytics, I'm totally okay with that. I get it. You can't watch 32 teams.
I agree. And it's a great tool for them, especially, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 30, 40 years ago, you had to go by box scores, and that's it. You didn't have those advanced stats, which, at least you can fake it today.
There were some days, and you young people are going to find this crazy, where games weren't even televised.
Half the Blues games were on TV when I was a kid.
You didn't even get highlights. You just had to go off who scored the goal and who got the assist.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Try debating who's better than who when you only get to watch half the games because only half of them are televised.
Yep.
Good luck.
All right. Next up for the Blues, they play Saturday. Where they got a 3-game homestand coming up here. Well, I guess technically 4. They've already played in the first game. Saturday versus Minnesota at 7:00. Sunday they play Anaheim at 6:00. Tuesday they play the Colorado Avalanche at 7,000 o'clock. That is not correct. It is at 7:00.
It's because they're in the Mile High City.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Or maybe 7,000 o'clock is like 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Yeah,
it adds up.
No, Tuesday versus Colorado here in St. Louis at 7:00. Thursday, they travel to Ottawa, and they play at 6:00. I will not be here next week. I will be at in a work thing in New York City. I would imagine you guys are going to do a Wednesday show, but stay tuned. Rapid fire tidbits from around the NHL. We've kind of mentioned this already. The Pittsburgh Penguins have announced that their Jaramir Jagr bobbleheads were stolen en route to the arena. So they will not have them for the game tonight, as the game has already been played. They announced this Thursday that their shipment of the fan giveaways had been stolen. The Penguins, all fans attending the home games against the San Jose Sharks. Let me rephrase that. All fans attending the home game against the San Jose Sharks will receive a voucher that includes a one-time scannable barcode to get the bobblehead at a later date, quote, when the items are safely located or new bobbleheads are produced and available for distribution. The team learned it was the victim of a cargo theft after it failed to receive the shipment of Jagr bobblehead dolls depicting the NHL legend with his famous salute celebration. As scheduled before the game, the Penguins reached out to both the manufacturer and transportation companies and alerted state and federal authorities working to locate the stolen cargo. It was determined that the theft likely occurred when the shipment arrived in California, according to the team. Quote, "We were shocked to be a victim of cargo theft, and we are working closely with local and federal authorities in the investigation," Penguins president of business operations Kevin Acklin said. While this unfortunate incident adds to the legend of Jaramir Jagr, who will be in attendance as our guest at tonight's game, we look forward to resolving this theft and delivering the prized Jagr bobbleheads to their rightful homes with our fans. And Kurt, you had some things that you said that you had seen before that maybe this is a ploy by the Penguins.
You know what?
No,
I don't know. You know what? This is almost like a conspiracy theory kind of a thing that, there is no substantial evidence behind this at all. It's just speculation from people just talking online. But, somebody said this was like a marketing gimmick. But this seems like a long way to go to somehow make this a neat thing in the end. Because that thing that came out, I don't know if it was Jagr put it out or who put it out, but it was Jagr getting into a car with the bobblehead in the passenger seat, him buckling the bobblehead in, and he goes, "Time, let's go find your friends." And they drive out and I'm like, what is that about? That's very strange to me. But I'm sure it's not.
Was it released today?
I saw it today. I don't know when it was released.
So if it was released today, maybe when they found this out, maybe he already had his, and he was like, "Let's make a funny video." I don't know. Yeah,
I'm sure they're a bobblehead. I'm sure the team has some bobbleheads, and maybe he had his in advance.
Did it look professionally produced?
Oh yeah. No. It looked like it was. He was in a Pittsburgh Penguins truck.
Okay.
With like a penguin. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it was his. So who knows? Who knows? Right. I don't know.
That's interesting.
Let me. It's where is it? It's on Twitter. Here it is, right here. NHL.com has it, the video. Let me share the screen. This is interesting. Here it is.
Buckle up, baby. Let's go find your friends.
And to be continued. So doesn't that make you think
that feels like it might be a ploy?
Doesn't it? I'm not saying it is, but I'm not saying that isn't either.
That feels very.
Isn't that weird? Because it was professionally done. That's NHL.com too. That's so weird.
That feels suspicious. Okay, well, who knows? Either way, it's made around the news cycle. It's not just hockey.
I know.
Companies reporting this,
and I think some people
are a ploy. Well done, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, like some kind of guerrilla marketing thing. But I think some people, I think it was I don't know, Olbermann or somebody online said, he was like, wow, they released the fact that these were all stolen to all the media outlets and the story behind it, and I think he was referring to this video and saying that, man, this looks like it's a marketing thing.
Yeah.
And really so I'm like, I don't know. Or maybe they're trying to laugh it off. It's quite possible.
But they released that today. If it was announced last week, hey, and maybe they knew last week and they were like, okay, let's hope we can find it before the game. And if not, Jaramir, would you mind shooting this video for us? Maybe that's it, but it does look weird, the fact they announced it today and then that video was apparently released today.
Yeah, and on CBS Sports, there's an article that says Penguins Jaramir Jagr helps in search of his stolen bobbleheads. That is so weird to me.
Fake.
I will say, I will give them all the credit in the world if it was like a supply chain glitch that they're trying to cover. Because I'll tell you what, it's 2024 and I'm fucking sick of being told things aren't coming because of a supply chain glitch. You've had 3 years to fix this shit.
Kurt, let me ask you, as a parent, I got a wild fucking hair up my ass last night at the Blues game. I decided, I'm like, man, I want to get Shea his first authentic jersey.
Okay.
And so we went down to the store, and unfortunately all they had was Thomas, which, Thomas would have been great, but I was like, my wife's favorite player, my favorite player is Binnington. Shay seems to like the goalies as well. I'm like, I want to get him a Binnington jersey.
Smart kid.
Yeah, so I decided to, it's funny, when he was a baby and they show the goalies on screen, he would start laughing. Like, it was weird. I'm like, why is he laughing at the goalie? I think
they are kind of funny looking.
Yeah, I think it's the mask. I think it was cool, so he would laugh. So I was always like, man, he's always been partial to goalies. So let me ask you, so I got home last night and I went on NHL.com and I was like, fuck it, I don't care what it is, I'm gonna pay for it. And I did. I ordered his first Binnington jersey. Is that a parent thing? Like, have you done that with your kids? Have they got authentic jerseys yet?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. I mean, there's no rule behind.
No, but I'm just weirdly excited for it. But I'm like, man, I cannot wait for that to come in the mail. It's like when I got my first jersey.
Did you order? I agree with you. When I was a kid, getting like a really cool jersey they've been wanting, that's a big deal.
Yep.
Now the gloss for that is kind of worn off for me as an adult. I've got a number of jerseys and it's like whatever, but
I just got my Jake Neighbors jersey.
No, it's still cool, don't get me wrong, but it's not the same as like when you're a kid. Yeah. But yeah, and did you get them? I mean, did you get them like a size bigger so it lasts longer?
Oh, I got them 2 sizes bigger.
Okay, all right,
I'm hoping it'll last a while.
As a very frugal parent there. Good job.
Yes. Well, cool. All right, because I felt weird. I'm like, man, it's so weird that I'm like this. I'm probably more excited than he would be. He doesn't know. I haven't told him, but I'm like, man, I'm probably more excited than he would be. So.
Awesome.
Justin Scott, what jersey did you get, Jeff? I got him a Binnington blue, the home. So I almost went for the Winter Classic, but I thought, man, I don't know. Part of me is always afraid, like, are they not going to bring those back next year? I know they will, but I thought.
Oh, I wouldn't even care if they didn't bring it back. It's like, it'd be like, having a jersey from the early 90s like I do. I love that thing.
Oh, yeah, I know. But I think he most associates the Blues with that blue jersey, so it just made sense to get that one.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm very excited. So anyway, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it'll come in. But yeah, Bill, you mentioned that it said 2 to 3 business days, and I thought, oh, sweet, so it'll be here like in a week or 2 weeks. And then I got an email today that was like, this is sold out. It's on back order. And I'm like, Jesus, I won't get it until the fucking summer. It'll be July when I finally get it.
Yeah, like when I ordered my Brian Elliott jersey in the 2016 playoff run, showed up the day after they were eliminated.
Oh,
I find it surprising that the shop there didn't have a Binnington jersey. It was just not in his size, or no?
The only kids jerseys they had blank ones, and then they had Robert Thomas, and that was it.
No Binnington
all
jerseys?
They had.
That's bananas. He's their MVP this season.
They didn't have Kyrou. They didn't have Buchnevich. They didn't have Parayko. Like, all they had was Robert Thomas.
Why not have? I mean, you could argue he's the MVP of the team. That's weird.
100%. And the lady, I did ask, because when I saw him, like, man, there's got to be, do they have more in the back or something? So I asked, the lady said,
there's always more in the back, wherever you are.
Yeah, I know, right? And so she's like, no, unfortunately, whenever we get the Binnington ones in, they sell out right away.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But it doesn't make sense to me that they only have Robert Thomas, because you think those would probably sell too, right?
You know what's weird, too, about...
why do they not have anyone else?
They're always selling out of jerseys real quick. Like when they brought the reverse retros, they had those. We sold out in like an hour. And I'm like, yeah, because you only had 50 of them. You only brought in, you know what I mean? I think that was the thing. They didn't actually have that many in the shop to sell in the first place. And they sold them, and they're like, oh, it's amazing the demand for these things. They sold out right away. I'm like, well, you only had so many.
Right. Justin Scott in his comments on YouTube says, I really love the jersey you were wearing to the game, Jeff. Love the baby blues. Yeah, so for the first game I went to this year, I decided, I'm like, hey, Colton Parayko doesn't suck anymore. So I'm going to wear my Winter Classic Colton Parayko baby blue from 2017. Well, they keep winning when I wear that jersey. And like I said, I got my Jake Neighbors jersey in on Monday. And I was like, man, I really want to wear this to the game on Wednesday. But being the superstitious asshole that I am, I'm like, I got to wear the Parayko. So wore the Parayko last night. They win again. Next game I go to, sorry, Jake Neighbors, still can't wear your jersey.
Mm-hmm. Chucky Sideburns got the win for the Capitals tonight.
Yes, he did. He made a couple real nice saves down the stretch
against Seattle. That helps us, by the way.
It does. And the Golden Knights losing. That helps as well. Let's take a quick standings look here to close up the show. So in the Western Conference, Central Division, Colorado Avalanche lead. Actually, Colorado and Dallas both lead, but Colorado holds the tiebreaker with more wins. 89 points for both of them. Winnipeg is trailing behind at 87 points. And the Nashville Predators are 7 points behind them. They hold the first wild card spot at 80 points. Vegas Golden Knights are actually tied with the Los Angeles Kings for third in the division of the Pacific, 77 points. But again, wait a minute. Oh, it's because Vegas. Yeah. Okay, because Los Angeles played in less games, so they consider them in
winning
third.
Winning percentage, yeah.
Winning percentage, yep. So Vegas holds that second spot. Minnesota is the first team out of the playoffs. 67 games played, 73 points. Blues at 66 games played hold the second wild card or second spot outside of the playoffs at 71 points. So right now, the Blues are 6 points out of a wild card spot, which is currently held by the Vegas Golden Knights. So and they have played the same amount of games as Vegas as well. So
they need to go. Yeah, and Vegas is 3-6-1 in the last 10. The Blues not much better, 4-5-1. So the Blues got to hope Vegas continues to play about 500 hockey, and the Blues need to start playing about 750 hockey.
Needless to say, Saturday is a big game. Blues in Minnesota.
Oh yeah,
that's a 4-point swing right there. Blues need to win this. If they win it, they can tie Minnesota for being the first team currently out of the playoffs.
Remember the Blues and Wild game that we went to at Enterprise with the Bomberito Suite?
Oh yeah,
Jeff.
I remember about half that game.
Courtesy of Bill's. It was your aunt, right, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Yeah, Jeff was gone. He was.
Yeah. I did not hold my alcohol well that night.
No. Yeah, I saw it going in and I saw it coming out.
Yeah. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That was a rough one. That was probably the most drunk I've been in probably the last 7 or 8 years.
You were double fisting beers most of the game, so
yeah, I was stupid. I I went to college, Jeff, there for a little while.
That was crazy. That was crazy. That was a game that Amy didn't know that we were going there. Oh, she knew we were going to the game.
Oh, that's right.
She thought we were getting like nosebleeds, and then we walked to the suite area, and she's like, "What are we doing?" And then she's like, "We shouldn't be here. We're gonna get in trouble." And then we just turned to go in the Bomberito Suite, and I said, "This is where we are." And she's like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Yep,
that was pretty cool.
That was fun. Next time, I will make sure to not drink so quickly. That was my problem. I got there and I was like, all right, here's what I'm gonna do, because I was planning on driving home. So my thought was, I will drink a bunch early. I will stop by the third period. Then we'll go hang out somewhere. And then 4 hours after the game ends, because it was an afternoon game, I was like, I'll be able to drive home. But I just never stopped drinking.
It was because we went to Cyberg's there, right, next to the city's stadium, and we went there so you could sober up. And what's the first thing you do is get a tall beer. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yep. Yeah. And even Jessica was like, she's like, didn't you say you were going to sober up here? And I was like, after this beer,
I'll sober up tomorrow. But yeah, it's kind of like Christmas Story with the tree and the power out. It's like, well, it's just, one too many. That's all it was, Jeff. You just had one too many. If you could drink the exact same amount next time, just stop one short, which did.
I think I had about 12 too many.
That was a great game, though.
It was. I don't remember them winning in overtime, but that was the next morning. I said to Jessica, I was like, man, I cannot believe they let the Wild come back last night. She was like, yeah, but at least they won in overtime. I was like, they won in overtime? Oh, yeah. She was like, you don't remember? And I'm like, nope.
Yeah, Minnesota scored 2 late goals, and then they went to overtime.
3, I think.
3. Yeah, it was 5-2 maybe, and then it was 5-5 overtime.
Yep.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Justin Scott in the chat. You should beat Minnesota, Anaheim, and Ottawa. Colorado is also beatable. Blues played pretty well against Colorado.
Nashville smoked Colorado the other day.
Yeah. Yep. Right now, I think, Minnesota, Anaheim, and Ottawa, all beatable teams.
Although Colorado has won 5 in a row. So there's that.
Yeah. They've looked a little bit better since the trade deadline.
They have. All right. Anything else, boys? We're ready to close her up?
Shut her down, Earl.
All right. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. For more information, did I just cut out?
You did.
You did.
You froze for about 2 seconds.
All right. So we will edit that. Let's try her again. Hold. Brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com, and get 10% off by emailing Dustin at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Mike Burgoyne from Real Brokerage Realty. Email him at mike@strikewithmike.com today for all your home buying and selling needs. That's mike@strikewithmike.com. That will wrap up episode 23 of season 13 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. For Kurt Price and Bill Day, as well as the absent and under investigation producer Austin, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, beat the Wild. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
The Cardinals have just signed Trevor Bauer.
Seriously?
Nope. Just kidding. Just to freak out everybody when they hear it on the podcast. Fuck you, Boston. Bunch of bitches. Let's go Blues.
I hate Kurt Price.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Sport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at sports.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues. St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number one. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the ice tonight again. They're rough and tough and got the stuff to win. They'll always get one more, no matter what the score. They are quite a hockey team, my friend.